Hey guys, have you ever moved and you don't recognize where anything is? You don't know where you put your kitchen plates. You don't know where your silverware is. You don't know where to hang your coat in the closet. That's a little bit how I feel right now in this room. So forgive me if things feel a little disjointed tonight. I spent the bulk of the weekend moving everything in this office around. Everything you can't see has been moved. I didn't want to move anything you guys could see because I didn't want to throw you guys off too much, but every single thing in this office that you cannot lay eyes on has been moved. The desk has been moved. Everything around here has been moved. I've cut from 5 monitors down to 3. You guys want to tour the office? You don't want to tour the office. There's not a lot of room in here, but it's a completely different look and feel in here. And so I don't know if you'll notice if there's a little difference here and there. I've got a different camera going too. So bear with me while I get my bearings under this new look. You know, when you work somewhere and you show up day in and day out, and then all of a sudden they like put a potted plant right when you walk in the door, and you look there and you're like, wait a minute, that potted plant wasn't there. And then your whole day's ruined. That's kind of how I feel right now. There's a potted plant somewhere and my whole day is ruined. But welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Real Baron Podcast, Baron Coleman here with you not every single day. I'm here occasionally. I'm here enough. Yes. I know I'm fighting the NFL playoffs. You don't have to text me and tell me that. I don't care. Not concerned about losing. I wouldn't say this is a periwinkle. This is I forget what they called it, steel blue or some kind of blue, but it does have a little purple or lavender hue to it. I'm glad this very high IQ outfit spends so much time dissecting the color of my hoodies. We spent a lot of time on the hoodies. I had a member live Friday. It lasted, I don't know, a little over an hour or so, just a Q&A. I mean, there was no real new information. We talked a little bit about the Tyler Robinson hearing. We'll talk about it again tonight, but someone apparently was new and they were like, wait a minute, I'm just showing up for the first time. Why is everyone talking about his hoodie color? And I was like, I'm not wearing a hoodie. They're like, I know. What's the problem? So bear with me. We'll get our bearings here. Don't forget on your way in, just like the video, it does help with the distribution of the channel. I hate to be that guy that asks. I always hated the YouTube people when I would watch. I said, hey, I only have so much time to watch you. Please stop telling me to like and subscribe. You're wasting time. But now I understand why they do it. So please, if you get a chance, subscribe to the channel, like. Couple of things. One is I've got a good opening. I think I've got a good opening today. I always think I have a good opening or I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't show up if I didn't think it was any good. So that's one. I really do like the opening today, and it's going to set up a series of stories coming up here in the future. There's a series of stories coming up in the future. I've got to lay the groundwork. Remember, I told you I use these openings as an arc to kind of push the arc of the show forward. Today is pushing forward an arc. We're going to push back from the docks and move the arc forward a little bit. So pay attention to what we talk about. These themes that I'm mentioning, the things I mention in here, I'm mentioning for a good reason. So we'll talk about that. I also want to talk about the Turning Point legal threat sent to Wolves in Finance. I have some strong opinions on that, very strong opinions on that. I cannot imagine a worst case scenario for TPUSA. I think it's disastrous what they've done. So we'll talk about that. I also want to preview what's going to come up the next few days because the show is going to take a couple of days off after tonight. I'm not going to be on tomorrow night because of the Indiana game. Sorry. I don't defer to the NFL. I do defer to the Hoosiers. So I will be watching that tomorrow night. And then Tuesday, I will not be in either because I have plans to be on another broadcast on Tuesday. I originally thought that broadcast would be tomorrow. It is now going to be Tuesday. So I will be on that show Tuesday, and I will not be hosting my own show. I will give you details as the plans are solidified on what time and where on Tuesday. I will let you know where I will be. But that originally was going to be Monday. Thankfully, it's been shifted to Tuesday. I was willing to do it Monday, even though the Indiana game was going to be on. But now that they've offered to do it on Tuesday, I'm like, hallelujah. Yes, absolutely. I'll switch to Tuesday. Don't mind if I do. All right, let me get to the opening statement. I think the opening statement tonight is going to kind of set the tone for some shows coming up in the future. And I've got to sort of bring you guys up to speed on where I am. Now that I'm only down to 3 monitors instead of 5, I'm sort of missing them. I haven't tried to do a show with only 3 monitors, but we're here, we're live, everything's good. Tuesday's your birthday, Ellen. Happy birthday. Good for you. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. No, it's not cornflower blue. It's not periwinkle. It's not lavender. Guys, this is here, let me do this. Let me add some, I don't know what the white balance. See, look at that. That's not periwinkle. That's not lavender. That's just blue. That's just a blue. But it's got a little haze to it. So bear with me on that. All right. Yeah, it's the lighting. My lighting's pretty wild. All right, you guys ready for the opening statement? Here we go. Room is darker. You look taller. I'm not taller. The camera's in a slightly different position. It's 1 inch higher than it was. So I'm sitting up 1 inch higher so that I don't look even smaller. But I'm not. I'm by no means taller. I'm 46 years old. I stopped growing 30 years ago. All right, you ready? Opening statement. If you ask anyone roughly my age or older what single news story had the most devastating impact on them when they heard about it, almost undoubtedly all will say 9/11. But if you had asked that question the day before 9/11, meaning if you had asked on September 10th, 2001, what news story had the most devastating impact, it's likely the answer would have been the school shooting at Columbine High School. If you're somehow unfamiliar with the school shooting at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, I'll give you a brief rundown of the official narrative. On April 20th, 1999, 2 12th grade students entered Columbine High School with weapons. When the dust settled, the 2 12th graders had murdered 13 students and 1 teacher. 20 additional people were injured by gunshots. The 2 12th grade perpetrators then took their own lives, bringing the official number of fatalities to 16. By 10 a.m. the next morning, bomb squads had cleared the school building and declared it safe to enter. By 11:30 a.m., the sheriff's spokesman said the investigation was underway, that 13 bodies were still in the building, and investigators were photographing the crime scene. By 2:30 p.m., there was another press conference where the district attorney and sheriff said they suspected others had helped plan the shooting. Over the course of the afternoon and evening, the bodies of the deceased were identified and removed from the building. On April 30th, just 10 days after the shooting, high-ranking county officials met off the record to determine whether they should inform the public that an affidavit for a search warrant was drafted more than a year before the shootings. The search warrant would have been executed on the home of one of the 2 shooters. That particular shooter had landed on law enforcement's radar because of the violent statements made on an AOL webpage belonging to the shooter. The officials decided they would hide from the public the fact that the affidavit had been drafted. The warrant was never executed. Stunningly, in the 2 years that followed the shooting, the original draft of the affidavit and the investigative file in support of the affidavit were lost. All of the files, I got half the people saying my audio's not synced, but we're just going to go with it. All of the files related to the affidavit were deleted from the county's computers. 10 years later, a more intensive search located archived copies of some of the file's documents. Not until the TV news program 60 Minutes began investigating the missing file did the county admit they knew of the affidavit, knew the investigative file in support of the affidavit had been lost, and the files deleted from the computers, and intentionally did not reveal any of it to the public. A grand jury that had been convened on this and other matters reported the incident was troubling. That sounds like a very mild description of the problem. Prior to Columbine, school mass shootings perpetrated by students were exceedingly rare. My best research could come up with only 4 that took place between 1893 and 1904. These are school shootings, 4 that took place between 1893 and 1904, and then not another one until 1966. And then after 1966, there was not another one until a student took 3 lives at West Paducah High School in 1997. For my search, I qualified a mass school shooting perpetrated by a student as one where a student took the lives of 2 or more students on a school campus. In the 92 years before the shooting at West Paducah High School, 92 years before the shooting at West Paducah High School in 1997, I could find only one. And that was the 25-year-old who took 17 lives and injured 31 in the very famous University of Texas tower shooting. But then something changed starting in 1997. After almost never happening, almost never, ever, ever happening, school shootings started getting pretty frequent, at least frequent by the standards of previously almost never happening. West Paducah High School in 1997, there was a 14-year-old, took 3 lives and injured 5. Westside Middle School, Arkansas, 1998, a 13 and 11-year-old take 5 lives and injured 10. The aforementioned Columbine High School shooting in 1999. Red Lake Senior High School in Minnesota in 2005, a 16-year-old takes 10 lives and injures 7. Virginia Tech, 2007, a 23-year-old student takes 33 lives and injures 23. Marysville-Pilchuck High School in Washington, 2014, a 15-year-old student takes 5 lives and injures 1. Umpqua Community College in Oregon, 2015, a 26-year-old student takes 10 lives and injures 8. Santa Fe High School in Texas, 2018, a 17-year-old student takes 10 lives and injures 13. And then Oxford High School in Michigan, 2021, a 15-year-old student takes 4 lives and injures 7. And this is just a list of where current students commit the mass shootings. You'll probably notice the list doesn't include famous school shootings like Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, or Covenant Christian School in Nashville, Tennessee. All well-known school shootings perpetrated in the last 15 years, but by non-students who took the lives of students and adults. So what's happening? What changed in 1997? Why did something that almost never, ever, ever happened at all of a sudden start happening every year or every few years? Why did people start looking at our country's educational institutions as open season on students? Mainstream sources chalk it up to a perfect storm of cultural and social factors kicking in during the late 1990s. The media played a huge role too. 24/7 cable news was just coming into their own during the late 90s. It turned these events into spectacles that inspired copycats. It's called the contagion effect. One shooting gets wall-to-wall coverage, and then suddenly troubled teens see it as a blueprint for fame and infamy. Rising diagnosis of mental health issues among youth and the dawn of violent video games like Doom in 1993 and Quake in 1996 still get plenty of blame. Schools in rural and suburban areas where these often hit were dealing with bullying and alienation on steroids. They have cliquey social dynamics amplified by early internet forums. And don't forget the 1990 Gun-Free School Zones Act. Some argue that act turns our schools into soft targets by banning firearms on campus, makes them appealing for attackers who know no one can shoot back. But schools supposedly have never been safer overall since the 1990s. Think of the increased presence of armed security, magnetometers at the entrances, doors that stay locked all day, clear bag policies, and more. So why do these high-profile shootings keep escalating? We can't ignore how this lines up with the bigger political agenda going on in the world. The late 1990s wasn't just any era. It was the post-Cold War era. Government pivoting to domestic threats. The Bill Clinton administration was pushing gun control hard after the 1994 assault weapons ban. It proved to be very unpopular. It turns out people don't want out-of-touch politicians in Washington telling them what kind of protection they can keep around the house. Well, what better way to sway public opinion than a wave of horrors that screams, ban the guns? Conspiracy circles often call these incidents false flags, but I've never liked that phrase, especially as applied to these events. The events themselves are real. The horrors are unimaginable. For those closest to the victims, the devastation is everlasting. Whether or not we feel like we're getting the entire story when one of these events pops up, calling them a false flag has never sat well with me. There seem to be 3 major themes, though, I see running through most of these incidents on school campuses. To be clear, these 3 themes also run through other tragic incidents, and we can look at those at a later date. I'm narrowing it down tonight to mass school shootings for a particular purpose. First, there's the role of pharmaceuticals in these events. The 1990s saw an explosion in SSRI antidepressants. For example, Prozac hit in 1987, Zoloft in 1991. The raw number of children on these drugs is staggering. An estimated 3.6% of children under the age of 18 currently take them. This is according to a 2025 report by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. That equates to millions and millions of kids. These SSRIs, of course, contain a black box warning for increased risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviors like aggression and hostility. If even a small percentage of children taking these drugs experience these known side effects, you're talking about thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of kids affected by these increased suicidal thoughts and aggressive behaviors. Reports suggest many of these school shooters might have been on these types of medications. If that's true, and I can't confirm, what these reports state, is it related? Would the shootings have happened at all if they were not on the medications? Second, there seems to be a pattern where there's contact with law enforcement prior to these tragic events. These are two sides of that. There are two sides of that coin, of course. Perhaps it's good police work that landed the suspects on the radar in the first place. Absent some sort of arrestable crime, all law enforcement could do is sit back and wait for someone making wild public statements to finally cross the line. But it raises the issue of whether there's more to it. After the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, the FBI began ramping up its active shooter training. By 1997, schools became the new theater. Is it possible law enforcement is identifying youth who are at risk for violence and then nurturing, prodding, and helping to push those youth to do the unthinkable? If the FBI or other law enforcement agencies had never been caught working with criminals to plan crimes, this wouldn't even be a consideration. But we know that's not true. Time and again, we find out the opposite. Law enforcement actively pushed someone to the brink. Tragedy happened, and there were efforts to conceal the role of law enforcement in the event. The Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot comes to mind. The FBI acknowledged several FBI informants and agents were part of the group planning to kidnap the governor. The defense team alleged the number was at least a dozen, probably more. There was the FBI agent telling a Muslim shooter in Texas to tear up Texas by text shortly before the shooter opened fire on a crowd gathered for a cartoon contest. The agent was stopped fleeing the scene, or he likely would never have been discovered. These are not two isolated incidents. The same pattern plays out in many other incidents. And again, but for the fact that we know it happens, the fact that we know the FBI and other law enforcement agencies push criminals at times to commit crimes, we wouldn't imagine it could happen, but it does. So the question is whether it is playing out in these school shootings. And what about the media? What role does the media play? And I'm using media broadly here, meaning more than just cable news. The media largely is owned by a handful of giant corporations with interests well beyond simply turning a profit. Sure, they profit from fear porn. Ratings soar during tragedies, for example. But it seems like there are causes the media will allow to be explored and causes they simply will not discuss. Nearly every mass shooting will prompt an in-depth discussion from panels of experts asking what, if anything, can be done to limit the types of weapons people are allowed to own and possess. What often is never examined, at least not ad nauseum, like the gun control narrative, is the role of mental health, the role of pharmaceuticals, the role of law enforcement involvement prior to the event. Those items simply are off the table. They're limited to maybe lone nuts here and there who can easily be dismissed by the teams of experts who will get right back to the best way to implement effective gun control in the wake of tragedy. And there's another angle that pops up in a lot of these stories, and it popped up most recently in the event that took Charlie Kirk's life at Utah Valley University. And that's the issue of multiple shooters or multiple people on the ground, often seen by witnesses and victims in tactical gear. For example, at the Charlie Kirk event, a police dispatcher can be heard on the scanner describing the suspect as wearing, quote, all black, black tactical helmet, a black mask, possibly wearing tactical vest and jeans. A man who filmed the alleged gunman on the Losi Center described him as wearing black tactical gear and a black mask. Going back to some of the events we described earlier, multiple witnesses at Columbine High School reported seeing a third or even a fourth shooter wearing all black, and in some cases, in some descriptions, tactical gear. More than 36 witnesses at Columbine High School described seeing shooters other than the two seniors blamed for the attack. Go to Virginia Tech. Witnesses described the same thing. A second shooter on campus in tactical gear and military-style attire fleeing the scene. Witnesses at Sandy Hook described seeing additional shooters, including a man in camouflage pants and a dark jacket detained in the woods near the school. At Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, a teacher described seeing a man in tactical gear. A student described seeing a man in tactical gear shooting near her at a time when the alleged shooter clearly was somewhere else in the building. And there were other mass shooting incidents that took place away from schools where witnesses gave the same kind of reports of additional shooters in tactical gear. San Bernardino, Orlando Pulse nightclub, and the Las Vegas shooting. Those are just 3 examples. There are many, many more. Why? These stories seem to fit familiar patterns. And people are right to ask whether there is some sort of orchestration beyond these lone shooters. School shootings, unfortunately, have begun to fit a standard mold. You traumatize the public, seek to erode rights, and distract from real issues. The horrific feeling I can't shake is that the sudden surge in these incidents that came out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere in 1997, appears, at least to me, to be engineered. Tonight, I want to hit on a few items. I do want to take a look at the cease and desist letter sent by TPUSA. I cannot think of a possibly worse posture for TPUSA to take at this time. If I'm being honest, I think it's disastrous. But I do want to peel it open. I want to take a look at it. It's the letter sent to Wolves in Finance. We'll look at it, see what it might mean. I also want to review the Tyler Robinson hearing that took place at the end of last week. There wasn't much to it, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page moving forward. I want to make sure at least everyone in this audience has some kind of a basic, fundamental understanding about what is happening and when. When there's a hearing, I want to make sure this audience is a high IQ outfit. I want to make sure we are all educated as to what's happening, so we're all on the same page moving forward from each item that happens in court. And finally, I want to preview the week ahead. Again, I mentioned there's some show details to share about tomorrow and Tuesday, and then we'll pick back up on our normal schedule Wednesday. And so I'll go ahead and give it to you now. I'll give it to you again at the end of the show. But I will be here live Wednesday. I will be here live Thursday and probably live Friday as well. I'll probably do 3 days in a row. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Coach Colin on the members side. We're going to do a members interview with Coach Colin. That should last an hour, maybe a little more than an hour. Probably 2 o'clock Central Time, if I had to guess. I don't think it'll go too terribly long, but I do want to bring him in, introduce him to the members. We're going to have some fun with that. And I said, hey, if you ever have anything you want to do on your member side or you want to have anything you want to do at all, let me know. I'll be the first one to say yes. I'll be the first one to be there to help you out. So that'll happen tomorrow about 2 o'clock. If you're a Coach Colin fan, be sure to tune into that. It should be good. Tuesday. All I can say is I won't be here, but you'll probably see me if you pay attention on Tuesday. You'll probably figure out where I am pretty quickly. So let me get into this. TPUSA bit here, because I have some real concerns about what they're doing. I have some very, very strong concerns. I keep seeing people saying the audio doesn't match, and some people saying the audio is fine. Is it matching or not? I'm going to wait just a second for the 8-second delay to catch up. Is it matching or not? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I know the camera's going out of focus. I got to work on that as well. Okay, it matches. Okay, some of you say yes, some of you say no. Whatever. Perfect on Grumble. That's all that I care about. The grumblers are who cares. The audio's going out. The camera's going out of focus. Let me tell you, I got a new camera and I don't know how it works. But I went ahead and set it up anyway, and I'm working on it. I'm getting little settings done each day. So you bear with me, I'll bear with you, and we'll make this thing work at some point. But the old camera was just disastrous. It was getting worse and worse by the day. I don't know if somebody drop kicked it when I wasn't around or what, but I had to figure that out. Now, if you don't know who Wolves in Finance is, you should give this guy a follow. If you don't know where it is, I mean, he's literally at Wolves in Finance on YouTube. Just Wolves in Finance. This is him. His name's Zach. He's a great dude. He does some great investigative work. He has been uncovering some big stories for the last several years. I've liked him for a long time. And he has had some dynamite shows on TPUSA. Well, unfortunately, one of those dynamite shows has caused him a little grief, or I guess more than one of those dynamite shows has caused him a little grief, because TPUSA has sent him a cease and desist letter. Now, if you don't know what a cease and desist letter is, here's how the legal process works. If you think someone has said something about you that's not true and it's causing you harm, you can send them a cease and desist letter. You could sue them, but most states require you give them an opportunity to correct the record or you don't get any damages. So if you're going to sue them, you first must give them an opportunity to correct it. That's the cease and desist letter. Essentially, it says, hey, you big dummy, you said something that's not true and it hurt me. It hurt my feelings. It hurt my business. It hurt my reputation in the community, whatever it is. You need to correct it. The thing about it is, here, let me bring him back down. I promise you I'm not going to go today I'm not going to screw up the video today. But the thing about a cease and desist letter is you have to be on notice that what you said was wrong. You have to be able to have an opportunity to correct it. And if you don't have the opportunity to correct it, if you're not put on enough notice that you can give a correction, a judge can kick it out and say that's not sufficient notice. You're not allowed to bring that claim, or at least you're not allowed to claim damages for that claim. I'll give you an example. If I say, I don't know if there's a Tim Smith out there. That's probably Tim Smith. I don't know a Tim Smith. Hey, Tim Smith, you're a big dummy and you're a crook and a criminal and you steal from your business, right? That's a very specific claim. You steal from your business. I don't know who Tim Smith is. This is a hypothetical. This is not me saying anything about Tim Smith. But if I say Tim Smith, I say you steal from your business. If you want to send me a cease and desist letter, it needs to quote me. You, Barron, said, Tim Smith, quote, you steal from your business, end quote. Now I'm on notice, and I know what I've said wrong. If I, on the other hand, if I receive a cease and desist letter and it says, you accused Tim Smith of being dishonest in his business practices. Well, that's not sufficient notice. I can't correct that because that's not what I said. And I think what we're going to find is this cease and desist letter has a little bit of that flair. Now, second thing about a cease and desist letter, a lot of people are under the mistaken assumption that the cease and desist letter has to come from a lawyer. That's not true. They often do come from a lawyer. They often do come from a lawyer because you want it to threaten legal action. You want to scare the other person. You want to make sure it's legally tight. You want to make sure it's binding. You want to make sure it gets the job done so that when you go in front of a judge, the judge doesn't kick you out. So that's kind of step one. Step two, you want there to be a lawyer to send it typically, but it doesn't have to be. Like your neighbor could send one. If your neighbor's an architect, can send a cease and desist letter on your behalf. It doesn't have to be a lawyer. Now, here's the key, though. If you're going to send one and you're not a lawyer, if you're going to send one and you're not a lawyer, you need to make sure that you don't threaten legal action. That's the key. You can't threaten legal action. Because if you threaten legal action, now you're practicing law. And so I would like to see the letter Zach got word for word. He kind of summarizes parts of it. I would like to see it word for word. And if you conclude that they are threatening legal action or you conclude they are practicing law, then what I would do if I'm Zach is, and this is the advice I would give him, I would immediately file a bar complaint in 2 states. One is the state of Arizona, where he lives, because this letter came from a lawyer in Indiana. So I would file a complaint in Arizona and say there's a lawyer in Indiana who's not licensed in Arizona and he's practicing law in Arizona. That's the first thing I would do, assuming it's all lines up and assuming that's the correct thing to do. So that's the first thing I would do. Second thing I would do, I would file a bar complaint in that lawyer's home state. I would file that bar complaint back in Indiana as well. I've done this. I've done this with a lawyer who was sending a cease and desist letter to my client in another state. And then I learned that the lawyer wasn't even licensed to practice law. She had been disbarred years before. Now, I don't think that's the case here. So then I had to follow a follow-up letter and say, not only is she not licensed here, she's not even licensed there, and she has been stripped of the right to practice anywhere. And so that's my initial advice to Zach. I would like to see it. I sent him a note on Twitter. I don't know if he saw it yet or not. May I see the letter? Because if the letter is practicing law, and you've got to examine it, look at the facts of the letter and see what it says. But if you can conclude that letter is practicing law, I'd file some bar complaints. That's what I would do. I'm old school, though. I'm old school. All right, let Zach do the talking here, because he's going to talk about the first claim. And the first claim, in my opinion, is a claim that we saw coming. Because on this program, we looked at Tyler Boyer's interview with Latter-day Saints. It was a fine interview. They run a pretty cool little show, actually. I've watched a few of their episodes now since I covered their episode on air. I wanted to see how they were, and I've watched a few of their episodes. It's a pretty cool little show. They do a good job. They've definitely got some talent. But I covered his interview on that show, and Tyler stopped the host and made the distinction, hey, Charlie never requested a Doge-style audit. He said a Doge-style effort. And so that's the first claim, but I'm going to play it here for you guys now.
On November 16th, I posted a video called Bombshell, Did Turning Point USA Commit Fraud? They say these are false claims. Charlie Kirk ordered a Doge-style audit that was never conducted. Here is my first problem with this letter. They do not include the actual quote that I said in the video. This is a paraphrased statement of what I said, and they are saying that the paraphrased statement is a lie. You have to tell me exactly what I said that was supposedly a lie, and they do this through the whole letter. So my request to this lawyer in future letters, because I'm assuming there's going to be more, please include the actual quote that I said so that I can respond to your accusation. But I'm going to at least try to interpret what they are saying. I spoke in my video about a memo that Charlie Kirk wrote 8 days before he was murdered. In the cease and desist letter, they say, indeed, Turning Point USA's COO announcement concerning the Doge effort never used the word audit. So this
is back to the ridiculous explanation Tyler gave the Latter-day Saints guys. What his explanation is no. So you see, Charlie never said he wanted a Doge-style audit. He just wanted a Doge-style effort. And Turning Point was running at, tip-top shape every step of the way, but Charlie was just this efficiency nut. He was just an efficiency guru. And so while we've never done anything new, even though he suggested he wanted something new. Now, keep in mind, this letter came out, 8 days before he died? Something like that? I think it was 8 days before he passed away. Even though Charlie was not requesting something new, he felt the need to send the letter anyway. Well, that's a ludicrous position. I'm sorry, that is just an absolutely asinine position. You don't send an internal memo stating that new people are taking over new roles and we're rolling out a Doge-style effort, all to say, good job, guys, you guys are great. I just want to confirm that you guys are great. It's just a ludicrous position. But that's claim one, because Zach said on Wolves in Finance that Charlie asked for a Doe-style audit, and they're saying, no, he didn't ask for a Doe-style audit at all. He asked for a Doe-style effort. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that sets the tone for the entire letter. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. And that's why I suggested in my intro that this is a horrific look for TPUSA. This could not have gone worse. I think there's 11 claims. I think there might be 2 that I think were even worthy of mention, and they should not have come in a letter like that. They should have just had somebody reach out to Zach directly, and I'm sure he looks like a man of honor and integrity. His stuff is really good. I think if somebody at TPUSA had reached out and said, hey, and I'll tell you what the claims are down the road, but hey, this claim, what is it, 8 here? This claim 8, and this claim, 4 and 8. If you could just clean that language up, we'd really appreciate it. Like if you would just clean that up, we would really appreciate it. Because right now it doesn't sound right to us, and we think it's borderline wrong. And so we'd like you to take what I would describe here of claims 4 and 8. If you could just, and I'm sure Zach would have gotten that letter and said, or gotten that email or gotten that phone call and said, I'll correct those. That makes sense. What you've said makes sense. That's it. And it's over. There's no threats. There's no lawyers. There's no Zach video where he's shaming them, and he's doing a pretty efficient job, frankly, of shaming them. But, ladies and gentlemen, we press on because claim 2, so that was claim 1, the Doe-style audit versus the Dome-style effort. Claim 2 is ludicrous. Zach said that there were some 990 claims that had not been, 990 forms that had not been filed. At the time he was reviewing their records, the 990 forms weren't available. Now, maybe he shouldn't have said they weren't filed. Maybe he should have said they're unavailable. It's possible they haven't been filed instead of they weren't filed. But I mean, come on. That like so is in the realm of opinion. You guys look foolish for raising this. I'll let him explain.
The next statement is, someone at Turning Point decided not to file 990 forms. At the time I made that video, those forms were not publicly posted. Those forms were posted after I made that video, and I have already made a correction about that.
So why are you sending him a letter if he's already made the correction? You see what I'm saying? This looks terrible. This looks absolutely horrific. It's like you guys don't do your homework. You don't understand the argument. You don't understand the battlefield. You don't understand how podcasting works. This next one is, again, semantics. It's about semantics. He's talking about money being funneled around, and they don't like the word funneled. They don't like the way he describes it. I'll let him explain.
The next statement is, in 2023, $650,000 may have been funneled from Turning Point USA through Turning Point Action to Turning Point PAC to evade campaign finance restrictions. They are referencing this chart from my video. They claim money actually went from Turning Point Action to Turning Point USA as a reimbursement for event expense. There was nothing nefarious about that transfer. I'm not sure they are contradicting what I am saying. According to their own statement, Turning Point USA used their own donor funds to pay for an event on behalf of Turning Point Action, freeing up Turning Point Action funds, which they then transferred to Turning Point PAC. They are saying that later, Turning Point Action reimbursed Turning Point USA for that event. But that doesn't change what I was saying. Additionally, in my video, I specifically said, again, this is not necessarily illegal if they structure their transactions correctly and utilize campaign finance loopholes, but it certainly looks unethical. That is my opinion.
Let me add one thing about this because I know quite a bit about this. I've advised many 501c4s and 501c3s on what they can and can't do with their money. There's a rule that's widely abused with 501c4s. I'm not suggesting TPUSA is abusing it, but I'm also not suggesting I've ever looked into it. It's possible they are abusing it. We would have to look into it to know. But here's the general rule of a 501c4. Now, a 501c3, generally speaking, cannot do things like endorse candidates. Generally speaking. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but they can't go out there and say, you can't give money to your church and then your church go out and put out a mailer and say, hey, I don't even know what some of these churches are. First Baptist Church of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We endorse Donald Trump for president. Go out and vote for Donald Trump. Like, they can't spend money that way. That's a 501c3. If you give money to a 501c3, you get a tax write-off. I think it's under 170C or something. There's some code, some provision of the tax code allows you to deduct that as if you didn't earn that money. You don't pay taxes on that amount of money. A 501c4 is different. And so what you have with a lot of these organizations, I'm going to lower Zach. If I start to play this and I don't bring Zach back up, you guys yell, scream, honk, wave your hands, do something. I'm not messing it up today. We're going to run it's a high IQ outfit, and you guys deserve better. But I want you to see my eyes when I say this. A lot of these 501c3s are structured this way when they work around the realm of politics. They do a 501c3 and they open alongside it a 501c4. The 501c3 allows rich people to give them millions of dollars and they get to write it off. And I can't use that 501c3 money to print up mailers, for example, and say, go vote for Donald Trump. But if I open a 501c4 right alongside it, I can do that up to, I think the current rule is 50% of the revenue. 50% of the expenditures have to be nonprofit. In other words, they can't be campaign related, but the other 50% can. Now, we're talking electioneering communication here. So you mention a candidate's name. Go vote for Donald Trump. That's electioneering communication. Call Joe Biden and ask him why he's a bum. Not electioneering communication outside of certain windows. See the difference? So these 501c4s walk this very fine line where they are doing some electioneering and some what they call general education. General education. And that general education can be on a wide variety of topics. And so what Zach is saying is you guys funneled money from a 501c3 to a 501c4 in order to go out and spend that money on electioneering communication. I would like to see the paperwork. I haven't looked at it because my guess is what they did was they offset that. Money is a fungible good. So if you're at home, for example, and you got to pay your rent, you got to pay your water bill, you got to pay your power bill, you got to pay the trash pickup, whatever your utilities are, and someone gives you $100, you can spend that anywhere. They give you $100 for rent. I mean, $100 is $100. It doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily go to rent. It just comes into the house. And you can say you put it to rent, but that just frees up $100 you would have paid to rent to go gambling in Las Vegas, right? I didn't give you $100 to go gamble in Las Vegas. No. I spent your money on rent. Well, what are you doing gambling in Las Vegas? That's a different $100. You see, that's the problem with a fungible good. It's like water, right? Water goes into a giant bucket. Once you put a cup of water in, you can't get that same cup of water back out. It's fungible. It goes in with all the other water. That's how cash works in a business. And so what he's saying is when they put that fungible cash into the 501c4, it then freed up other cash for them to do this, whatever else they want to do with it. Pay salaries, electioneering communication, general voter education, whatever it was. I bet you they would argue what they did is account for that internally. That's my guess is what they would argue, but they haven't done that yet. So I view that one as kind of a, TPUSA, you guys screwed up because you were being cute and you guys were trying to move money around in a weird way. And had you just done what we kind of all expected you would do, which is the 501c4 raises its own money, the 501c3 raises its own money, we wouldn't be in this position. We wouldn't have any of these questions. People wouldn't be asking any of these questions. Look, I'm sharing it again. Sharing it again. Not screwing up today, boys and girls. No. All right, this next one is the first one that I think they probably might have a claim, but they really should have just reached out to him directly and said, hey, could you dial that back just a hair? And my guess is he'd have been like, yeah, I probably could. I mean, I would. If it was legitimate, I would. If I legitimately made a mistake, sure, I'll dial it back. Here's what happened.
My opinion. On November 30th, I posted a video called Explosive, More Fraud at Turning Point USA. They say these are false claims. There was more fraud at Turning Point USA. I assume they are referring to the title of the video here. They, of course, are saying that there is no fraud at Turning Point USA. The content of the video is me going over the evidence of fraud and sharing my opinion. Now, technically, a true statement would be that no one has been convicted of fraud at Turning Point USA. But whether fraud is going on right now is an opinion. This is what happens in every criminal court case.
If you want his full explanation, go to his video. It's fantastic. He does a great job. But I don't want to play his whole video, right? I want to tempt you. I want to tantalize you. I want you to give him a follow. I want you to give him a subscribe. I want you to throw him $5. I think he has a $6 membership or something like that. So Apple tax on their fee would be $9. Go join him for a month and help him out. But here's my take on this. This is why I think this is the first close call. When you say there's more fraud at TPUSA, the allegation is that fraud has been proven and you have uncovered even more. I think had Tyler Boyer or even the lawyer or someone at TPUSA, some low-level guy at TPUSA, they just picked up the phone and called him and said, hey, Zach, your title bothers us because it suggests that fraud has been proven. Can you change the title? Can you, in your video, can you just make it clear that that's not been proven, that there's been no finding of fraud? My guess is that he just said, yeah, I can do that. That's not a problem. It's not that hard. I really think he would have been fine with it. And they probably, I don't want to say they were right to raise the issue on this, but I think they probably, I would be upset if somebody said I was committing fraud and I wasn't. That would bother me. And so I won't say I don't think they're in the right here, but I think they're probably, people would understand why they don't want to be accused of fraud. I would say that. I'll say that. I think that most people wouldn't want to be accused of fraud. Now, does that mean there's no fraud at TPUSA? No. Does it look like, in my opinion, there's some fraud at TPUSA? In my opinion, yeah. Looks like a little weird stuff going on over there, if I'm being honest. You got a lot of employees at a 501c3 or at a nonprofit. You got a lot of employees living very high on the hog. That's weird to me. That's unusual. That typically doesn't happen. Flying in G5s all over the country. That's unusual for nonprofits, ladies and gentlemen. That typically doesn't happen. Most nonprofit organizations don't fly on planes that cost $7,000 to $12,000 an hour to fly. They just don't. Most of them fly commercial. Or if they don't fly commercial, most of them fly on a less expensive private option. There are private planes that fly for a couple of $3,000 now, 25% of what a Gulfstream 5 costs. Here is his next point, and I think this is probably the most absurd. Is this the most absurd one they raised? One of the most absurd ones they raised. It's also hilarious.
The next statement is that America's Turning Point had ghost employees. The letter explains, America's Turning Point had 80 employees in FY23 and 108 in FY24. There was, however, an inadvertent error in America's Turning Point filing, which failed to note these employees, and America's Turning Point is in the process of rectifying that inadvertent error.
Guys, what they're saying is, hey, Zach, you identified an error in our filings. but you're not allowed to talk about it publicly or we'll sue you. What a ludicrous position for TPUSA to take. You know how bad that makes them look? What they should have done is send him a birthday card with $1,000 in it and said, Zach, thanks. You saved us a lot of embarrassment because you identified we had not properly listed the correct number of employees in our filing. You, sir, are an accountant extraordinaire. You, sir, are one of the best things that's happened to TPUSA this year because our filing made us look very bad. And you raised this issue to us. I don't know how they screwed up the number of employees. I don't even know if they did screw up the number of employees. But sending him a jack-legged letter, angry with him for identifying your problem and pointing out you made a mistake and that your filing makes no sense. You guys realize there's a penalty of perjury on these filings, right? These are tax records. People go to prison for these records if they're wrong. Zach won on this issue. And you're yelling at him about it? You're threatening him? What a ludicrous position.
So I was right. There was something wrong. They did put incorrect information on the 990 form. There were missing employees they were not reporting. They have confirmed it. And just to be clear, this was not some minor mistake. This was around 80 employees that were somehow missing.
Yeah. They were off by a factor of 500% or so. That's all. That's all. In my opinion. I don't want to. Hey, let me say this for the record, ladies and gentlemen. I want to be very clear and on the record here. I've never given anything but my opinion relative to TPUSA. I've stated no facts. I'm an opinion master. That's it. That's all I give is opinion. This opinion's left and opinion's right. That's all I do is give opinions. I'm an opinion machine. I love opinions. I've never given so many opinions on a topic in my life. All right, let me go to the next opinion here of our good friend Zach. I appreciate him letting us go through this like this. This next one is whether or not Tyler Boyer is, I don't want to say improperly benefiting because I don't know that's the way he worded it, but unusual benefits relative to TPUSA.
The next statement is that donations to Turning Point Action increased from $10.7 million in FY23 to $27.2 million in FY24, and suggested that Tyler Boyer may have been recruiting these donors away from Turning Point USA to undermine MAGA and benefit himself. Again, this is not exactly what I said, and I find their paraphrasing of my statements a little silly. They are claiming that Tyler Boyer never tried to undermine Charlie Kirk in any of his decisions.
Hey, props to Zach for finding the worst picture on the internet of Tyler Boyer and putting it up. Like that's, if they're going to come after you, that's how you do it. Like I wouldn't have done Tyler Boyer like this. It's too wrong. It's too wrong. But if you're gonna come after him and he wants to put up a pic, this is the picture you find. I mean, I have no idea what's going on here. No idea what's going on here. Yeah, I've addressed the audio. I'm going to keep working on it, guys. Dial it back. I think the problem here is I got the camera going into one device and the audio going into another, and apparently there's a little sync delay, but I'm not stopping the show and changing it for a half-second delay. The next show will be spotless, I promise. I'll just run them both through the docking station here. I've got one plugged directly into the computer and the other into the docking station. So bear with me. We'll get it fixed. Just act as if they're synced and your life will be great. So props to Zach for doing what you do. Like, this is how political operatives treat each other. Here's the other thing I would add. Their explanation is that this is just normal spending in and around an election cycle. I would argue they've never had that kind of an influx of cash in and around an election cycle. It's never happened. Like, it's absolutely never happened. It's just, it's a preposterous position. And it makes sense to me that Zach would look at that and think, you know what? I don't think that's right. This next one is my favorite because, well, I'm going to give Zach some thumbnail advice here. And I don't even use thumbnails. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I was talking to somebody the other day. They're like, you're the only person I know that didn't use thumbnails. I'm like, I don't want to use thumbnails. I got to create them. It takes time. I don't want to do it. He's got a show from last year called Clowns of the Year. Apparently, the people at TPUSA don't like being called clowns and are raising an issue about it. But I'll notice here on the Clowns of the Year, there's a little Macron that shows up on the left-hand side.
And that is my opinion. On December 7th, I posted a video called Top 10 Clowns of the Year.
Now, here's my problem with the thumbnail. And this is not a critique. I don't do thumbnails, like I just said. But if you're going to say Top Clowns of the Year, don't put yourself in the picture. Put a logo up there or something. You can't put yourself in the picture. I looked at this like, is he calling himself a clown? So that's my only thing, Zach. Don't call yourself a clown. All right, so back to the clowns. Here's why they don't like being called clowns.
In this video, I called Turning Point my #1 clown of the year. I talked about the now infamous interview with Turning Point's chief security person talking about the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. I point out the massive contradiction where he says they were not allowed to fly drones. Then I show the interview with Frank Turek where he says he was watching drone footage with Charlie Kirk. This part is breaking news because I'm not aware this has ever been discussed. The lawyer in this letter says the following: there was no discrepancy. UVU prohibited Turning Point USA from flying drones for security purposes during the event, but did allow a Turning Point USA media production drone to briefly fly over the location before the event to collect limited B-roll footage.
Do you understand how damning that is? That is one of the most damning things I've heard about the Charlie Kirk investigation to date. It is so bad. If you would have had a drone in the air, now the allegation is that he was taken down by a man with a rifle on a roof. That's the allegation. A drone would have eliminated that possibility because someone monitoring a drone from, let's say, 250 feet in the air, well below the ceiling that you're allowed to fly. Somebody monitoring a drone would have seen somebody get on the roof. Immediately, I'm assuming they had one. Every event has one. The code word goes out. Let's say the code word is clown, clown, clown. As soon as the guy on the drone sees somebody on the roof with a weapon, clown, 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 boom, Charlie's immediately surrounded and escorted out into an SUV and driven away. That's it. It's the end of the day. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for that. There was a man on a roof with a weapon. That's the end of the story. Charlie Kirk is still here to this day. If that's what happened, I don't tend to believe that's what happened. But the idea that you guys agreed to put him into an event where you were not allowed to fly a drone during the event, but you were allowed to fly a drone before the event, and multiple people on the team have said, I don't like the looks of this place. There's roofs everywhere. And then you still went forward with it? That's ludicrous. Everything about that is ludicrous. Absolutely every piece of that is totally 100% ludicrous. Absolutely. And there's no explanation for it. It's breaking news. I agree with Zach. It is 100% breaking news, and it's devastating. We'll let you grab a little B-roll, but we won't let you protect a guy who has death threats against him. I cannot for the life of me, I cannot for the life of me believe that is the UVU policy. I don't believe it's the policy. If it is the policy, everyone at UVU needs to be removed, like even the janitor. Like everybody. The guy that cuts grass, you're gone. President, vice president, provost, governor, everyone in the state of Utah needs to be relocated to Nevada. Nobody should be left in the entire state, if that's true. I refuse to believe it. But it's breaking news. All right, now the next one. Oh, hold on. I think I skipped ahead one. There we go. This next one's probably the other one where if I was TPUSA, how I would have handled this is I'd have just picked up the phone and called Zach and said, hey, can we get a correction on this? I don't agree with this. I think this is wrong. And I honestly believe Zach would have been like, let me think about it. Or might have just done it. But this is it. This is the, oh, hold on. Let me get that off of there. There we go. This is the only other one I think has any real merit whatsoever. This is about that 110 LLC, the P.O. box in the parking lot that Zach was concerned about.
On December 14th, I posted a video called Tim Pool Rants about Turning Point. They say these are false claims. Asking whether money sent to 110 LLC was to bribe Jay Kaufman. Again, that's not exactly what I said. They are complaining that I'm not allowed to ask questions. I cannot ask questions about 110 LLC. I cannot ask questions about Jay Kaufman. I think those are fair questions to ask, given that Turning Point sends them millions of dollars as one of their largest independent contractors. This is America. I'm allowed to ask questions. But I think it is fair for Turning Point to also state their official position. They claim Turning Point contracts with 110 LLC for legitimate services. The money you ask about is spent on marketing and advertising services. Any claim that it is a bribe is false.
So that's where I think they probably had a legitimate complaint, and maybe I'm sensitive to this because I've actually done this line of work before, and I've been beat over the head by a guy on the radio arguing with me about it. In a past life, we did a little political consulting here and there. Had a political consulting company for several years, and sometimes campaigns would say, "Look, I don't want to deal with these people myself. Will you just pay for everything?" Sure. So you go out and you put up TV spots and radio spots, and you buy mail and you do all this stuff, and you show the expenditure to the place internally, but on the external, it just looks like they're paying you $500,000. It's not the best way to handle the money. The reality is, it should be broken out. Like on the campaign finance reform, on the campaign finance form, it should be broken out. It should say 100,000 to Fox News, 100,000 to MSNBC, 100,000 to CNN, 50,000 for this, 50,000 for that, and then 50,000 for the consulting services, whatever your cut is. That's the way it should be. And my guess is, if this was a campaign, they probably would have broken it out that way. But because it's just a tax filing, we don't really care how it's broken out. We just need to know the money's gone out of our place to somewhere else. So that's kind of the situation that they're in there. So I think that if they'd have picked up the phone and said, "Hey, you're accusing this of being a bribe. Can you please tell your audience it's not a bribe? It 100% isn't a bribe. That's false. And if you insist on saying it's a bribe, then we'll have to send you a cease and desist letter. But if you can just let them know that you talked to us and it's not a bribe, this is just advertising expenses," I think he would have been like, all right, I'll tell him that. Like, he's been pretty straightforward. And like when he's made a mistake, he's corrected it oftentimes before anybody else even raises the issue. So I don't know why you would expect him to be any different. Why you would have expected him to do anything else differently. Okay, let me skip forward just a couple of seconds, actually. This is a weird thing here, and I don't know why TPUSA does this. And I think Zach's right to ask this question. They have a full-time employee who's worked there for, a decade or more, and he's listed as an independent contractor. I think that's weird. From the IRS perspective, an independent contractor, there's a test. You can pull up the IRS guidelines and you can look at the test. Is this an employee or is this an independent contractor? And if it's an independent contractor, you can just pay him cash. But if it's an employee, you got to withhold taxes. You got to pay your share of the 7.65% or whatever it comes out to for the FICA and all that. And it's weird to me that they're calling, well, I'll let him explain it. No. Gosh, I was doing so well. We were cooking every single time the video was working. Oh my gosh. I got to start figuring something out here. Well, the lucky news is it was only 28 seconds this time, 32 seconds this time. Lord have mercy. Oh gosh. All right, here we go. I'm not even going to apologize anymore. You're here. You understand that this is part of it. You deal with the technical difficulties. I spent all weekend setting up the office to make it easier so that doesn't happen. The whole weekend, I say, I will never screw this up again. I've gotten rid of 2 of the 5 monitors. I've gotten everything simplified up here. Everything's in this direction now, so I'm not going to be looking away. I'll see it if they don't see it. The screen under the camera will show it, and I will never, ever screw that up again. And for an hour and 8 minutes, I didn't. You guys put up with the blurry camera because I don't know how to get the settings right yet. You guys put up with the sound delay because I didn't test it live because I've got it tied into 2 different machines. You guys are so forgiving, so kind, so loving. And that's how I treat you. Here we go.
The second statement is asking why America's Turning Point lists COO Tyler Boyer as an independent contractor. Again, they are saying, I'm not allowed to ask questions. Does Turning Point see the irony in this? Charlie Kirk died under a tent with the slogan, "Prove me wrong." His whole college campus tour was about asking questions. And now Turning Point is sending out legal letters to small YouTube channels accusing them of defamation for asking questions. I was asking the question why their COO was an independent contractor. I think that is unusual. That is my opinion. Turning Point is now stating their official position. America's Turning Point lists its COO as an independent contractor because his substantive role for America's Turning Point is more in line with the contractor classification.
Okay, maybe it's more in line. I'm not pulling it down, by the way. You guys are stuck with the big screen right now. Not making that mistake. I got 2 more clips, and I'm not making that mistake again, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's more in line with the contractor classification. But if you pull up the IRS website, which I don't want to do, IRS contractor versus employee, there's a whole list of factors and elements and everything else. Does the company have the right to control what the worker does and how the worker does his or her job? Are the business aspects of the job controlled by the payer? How the worker's paid, whether expenses are reimbursed, who provides the tools and supplies? In other words, is Tyler Boyer bringing his own tools and supplies to the job? Are there written contracts? Are there any types of benefits? Employee, pension plans, insurance, vacation? Like there's a whole list of items here. Now, if they've done this analysis and they've determined that that is the proper way to pay him, okay. But for someone to look at it and say, wait a minute, the chief operating officer, he's worked there for 10 years. He works at 2 different companies there. And you're saying he's an independent contract? That looks a little weird. It looks terrible. It is absolutely horrific for TPUSA to send him a cease and desist letter for asking, why is he listed as an independent contractor? That's weird. It's just totally weird. All right. This one is the shell companies. He used the phrase shell companies. When he used that phrase the first time, when I was watching the video, I winced. I'll be honest with you, I winced. That doesn't mean he was wrong for using it. It just means he's an excellent podcaster. He's an excellent broadcaster. He understands what gets people to respond. It made me respond. As soon as he said the word shell company, I was like, I can't believe you said that.
The letter also states, more generally, you have accused the Turning Point entities of being shell companies. This too is false. They are arguing about what can be defined as a shell company. They don't want anyone to call Turning Point's multiple organizations shell companies. Personally, I do not agree that it is an incorrect use of the definition. Turning Point is moving money between organizations like some kind of shell game. A shell game is a classic street hustle and magic trick. So in my opinion, I think it would be appropriate to call them shell companies. But if Turning Point is so upset about the word shell company, I have no problem calling them something else from now on.
And I think that's a fair compromise. But I don't think he was wrong necessarily for using shell company. It's an opinion designation, but whatever. I'm fine with that. All right, last clip. This one's a tough one. Because as a broadcaster, as a podcaster, as a whatever content creator, whatever you want to call people these days, broadcaster was you would broadcast a signal that would just fall like seed. It comes from the old phrase broadcasting, where you would just walk around broadcasting seed into the field, right? Jesus talked about broadcasting. That's why I went into broadcasting. I just wanted to be like Jesus. No. Jesus talked about broadcasting. He talked about the seed. Some of it falls on the path and it doesn't sprout. Some of it falls in the weeds and the thistles and it gets choked out. And some of it falls on fertile soil. That's broadcasting. You just throw it out seed into a field. When you're broadcasting or podcasting or creating content or whatever, you have this really difficult line to walk because you want to give the news, but at the same time, you want to respect some semblance of privacy of the people you're covering. So if you want to show someone's house because you say, how can you work at a 501c3? How can you work at a nonprofit and live there? That looks like a mansion. Well, then you've shown the house. And if you've shown the house, some psycho in your audience may show up at the house, drive by, take pictures, knock on the door, yell, scream, throw dog doo on the wall. Who knows what they do? But, it's a fine line. Like, what responsibility does Zach play if he shows the house that somebody else looks it up? Plus, he makes a good point in that the address was already publicly available.
On December 28th, I posted a video called Shocking, Turning Point Fraud Gets Worse. They claim you recklessly repeated many of the previously described falsehoods and again directed viewers to the home address of Mr. Boyer, which has resulted in threats to Mr. Boyer's safety.
And again, if you want to hear his explanation, go to it. I encourage you to watch this video. Give him the watch, give him the view, donate to him, whatever, because he's doing excellent reporting out there. Very good reporting, and he should be supported, particularly if they're going to file a lawsuit against him. But his explanation is, guys, this home address was already in the filings. All I did, and he blacked it out when he put it up on the screen. He said all I did was point people to the filings, and the filings. I'll put his channel up. You guys asking what the channel is? It's called Wolves and Finance. Wolves and Finance. Let me pull the whole screen up here. How do I get it over? Oh, there we go. So this is Wolves and Finance right here. It's a great channel. The guy does great work. Truly does. He had that right there was the Brian Cole video was excellent as well. But yeah, go give him a follow, give him a subscribe, hit a like on the video. All that helps. When you hit the like on the video, it allows us to get greater reach, which allows us to fix the blur problems that I'm having in and out. It allows us to fix the audio delay, right? It allows me to get the equipment to fix the audio delay. No, I know what's causing the audio delay. I'm plugged into two different devices here. I won't do that again next time. I did it because it was easier and more convenient for me. But I will not make that mistake in the future. The blur is just a setting on the camera. I've got to get in there and figure that out. I just wanted to try the new camera because I had a couple of days off. because I'm now retired from my legal job and with you guys now full time. Being here full time, I had a whole weekend, basically all of Friday and all of Saturday here by myself. And I was able to get all this office set up. This is something I've been wanting to do for months, but have not had the time to do it. But in doing so, I did not get all the camera settings exactly right. I didn't get the audio synced up exactly right. We're going to fix it. This is a high IQ outfit. You deserve better. You deserve better. All right. So that is the Wolves in Finance TPUSA problem. Now I want to review the Tyler Robinson deal. And I don't think I'm going to pull anything up for this. I'm just going to talk to you for a minute. So sorry for the audio delay. Sorry for the fuzzing if it comes in and out. But I want to make sure we're on the same page here. Now, I shared this on the members feed Friday, and I was on with Trigger Smart and Kelly and Brandy and Billy on Friday as well, and I shared it with them. It's difficult as a lawyer representing a criminal because the entire system is predisposed to not like your client. Like it or not, believe it or not, most people that show up for jury duty believe your client's guilty or he wouldn't have been charged in the first place. And that's a tough situation to be in. Because if you're behind the eight ball that far before the trial even starts, how do you get your guy an acquittal? It's just a tough position to be in. So you try to cure a lot of those problems well in advance of the trial. You don't want a jury to show up if you can avoid it. Because once the jury shows up, there's like a 95% chance your guy's going to get convicted. And so as a lawyer, there is a sense of desperation prior to swearing in the jury, prior to selecting and swearing in the jury. There's this sense of desperation that sets in with the lawyer. I've experienced it. I've represented, I don't want to say many criminal defendants, but dozens of criminal defendants. I've done criminal trials in 10 or 12 different states, state court, federal court, military courts. I've represented people in different places. This same desperation sets in every time. Even if you think, I've gotten clients acquitted that I felt like we would get acquitted at trial if we had to go to trial. I still didn't want to go to trial. Because the second you walk in there, your client's liberty is at risk. Even if you feel like you have a really good defense. And so I don't blame the defense for trying absolutely everything they can try. And that's what this hearing was about Friday. And it will be continued. They'll finish it later. But the hearing was, we have a county attorney who has filed for the death penalty. That's the highest penalty you can get in law in the United States. Like, we don't draw and quarter people, right? We don't torture people. So we don't lash them to death. We don't starve them to death. All we do is stick a needle in their arm. I guess in Utah, they have some kind of antiquated, you can go to firing squads and stuff, but I don't think they do that very often. But because the penalty is so high, if you're the defense lawyer, you say, maybe we would get a better maybe we would get a better prosecution with someone else. Maybe we would get somebody who would not file for the death penalty. Maybe we'll get somebody who will not try to kill my client. The only way to get to someone else is to get those people thrown off the case. Now, that doesn't mean that they're confident if they go to trial they'll lose. It means you're gambling with your client's life, not his liberty, his life. And so they filed a motion to exclude, to disqualify the Utah County Sheriff's Department. And the reason they did it, again, the next county might also file for the death penalty. But at least you have a chance that they won't. And so they filed this motion because they saw something pop up that gave them a straight-faced chance to get that person removed, to get that county attorney removed. And they say, let's get the entire office removed. Because if we can get the entire office removed because of this perceived conflict, maybe it'll be transferred to another county and they won't seek the death penalty. Then we're in a little better bargaining position. So I don't blame them for doing that. In doing so, when you file these pretrial motions, you have a duty of candor to the court that if you intend to raise an issue, then you will let the court know about it in advance. So you say, I have a problem, and this is what they did. I have a problem with that particular county attorney because his daughter was there. I think by now we all know who it was, but his daughter was there. And you could say it's daughter instead of son because of the length of I'm not telling you any inside information. The length of the redaction lets you know it's daughter, not son. It's like 7 letters instead of 3. So it's a girl. She was there. And what they say is, hey, if she was there, she's potentially a witness. She talked about it with the county attorney's office. And we don't know what they did with that information, so they should all be excluded. They should all be disqualified. Let's get a different county attorney's office in here. Let's start over. And so they filed a motion saying that. The judge accepts the motion, and he sets some sort of a briefing schedule. Hey, you got 2 weeks, state, to respond, and then you'll have a week to reply to their response. And when you get that time from the judge and you raise the issue, you need to put everything in there you intend to talk about at the hearing. And then the judge sets a hearing, and then they're going to talk about it, but we're all on the same playing field. We all know what the other person's arguments are. If you think they need to be disqualified for X, Y, and Z, you put it in the brief and let's talk about it. That way they show up and they know when they show up what it is they're expected to argue. It's a fair way to conduct pretrial hearings. The problem with the defense, what happened on Friday, and this is why it was controversial, and this is why I want to take a second to talk about it, even though it largely was uneventful. What happened with the defense is they showed up and they raised a new argument that had previously not been raised in their brief. And their argument was, not only should they be excluded, not only should they be disqualified, but they can't even argue the issue. They're too conflicted. Because what are they going to do? They're going to investigate themselves? No, that's not right, says the defense. The Attorney General's office should step in and investigate whether there's a conflict of interest. They should take over the briefing of this. They should be the ones in here arguing it. And I think that was a vital error on the part of the defense. I know why they did it. I understand what they were trying to accomplish. I know the sense of desperation that sets in when you're representing a criminal defendant, particularly when they're large. I've never represented a death penalty case, but I've represented cases where the defendant is facing 30 plus years and they're basically going to die in prison. So it's basically a death penalty. It's life in prison. They're never getting out. And so they got desperate. Someone probably recommended this to them at the last second, the night before or something. I doubt they planned this days or weeks in advance. Hey, you know what we'll do? We'll get to the hearing that day, and then we'll throw this on them. Someone the night before probably called them and said, how do you expect them to even argue this? That's not right. And they're like, you're right. You're right. We should not let them argue this. I'll raise that with the judge. And that was an error. It was a mistake. In my opinion, it was a huge mistake. And I don't think the judge is going to rule with them. I just don't. So what they did was the judge said, I'll reserve ruling on that. Let's go ahead and start the hearing process, and I'll let you know my feelings on that down the road. And so the defense put on the first witness, which was, I think, the conflicted lawyer, and started asking him questions, and then they ran out of time because it got late in the day, and it was Friday, and then it was over. So that's not not an ideal scenario, in my opinion, for Tyler Robinson's defense team. I don't think they're off on the right foot with that judge. They're certainly not on the right foot, in my opinion, with the greater legal community. I think a lot of lawyers are looking at that, scratching their heads, saying, that's not how I would have handled it. But, it is what it is. So that's where we are on that. They'll pick up the rest of that hearing later. I just want you guys to kind of know that as this proceeds, if there's a hearing that requires a little explanation or you guys want a little explanation, I'll be happy to jump in and give you a little explanation. I don't want to be in a position of second guessing everything the defense team does. I don't think that's my role. I don't think they're bad lawyers because of anything that's taken place to date. I don't know enough to know what's going on behind the scenes. None of us do. And it's kind of a hurry up and wait. We're going to have to hurry up and wait to see how they handle the rest of these things. All right. Second issue that popped up. Something very routine happened, and I see people in the comments making a big deal out of it. And it happened months ago. And it just came out publicly. But Erica Kirk filed a motion for a speedy trial. I don't think that's remotely unusual. I think the state, it's the right of the defendant to get a speedy trial. That's a right reserved to defendants. And think about it. It works in favor of the defendant. If the state's going to charge, think of these are not sympathetic defendants that I'm about to name, but think of the terrorists picked up on the battlefield over the global war on terror. A lot of them sit in jail or sit in custody for years without facing trial. Wouldn't you rather have the right to a speedy trial in that situation? Wouldn't you rather go to trial and, charge me with something? Give me a court date. Let me look a judge in the eye. Let me know what's going on. That is something that King of England used to do to people. The King of England used to do that. They would come in and charge political dissidents, and they would just throw them in jail and never try them. And in doing so, people would be unable to have any semblance of a normal life or freedom until the king decided to let them go. So when the United States broke away from that, they would say, we're not doing that anymore. You guys have a right to a speedy trial. They enshrined it in the Bill of Rights. You have a right to a speedy trial. Every state has some version of a speedy trial. Every state. Some are more strict than others. Florida's is very strict, 175 days, I think it is. And it's like, you got to go. Now, the defendant can waive it because they say, hey, there's just too much information. We're going to have to get through this. Once you waive it, once you request discovery, now you get off the speedy trial train, at least the strictest of speedy trial. You still might have some speedy trial arguments reserved, but generally speaking, you waive the bulk of them when you start participating in the defense like that. So that's that. I don't think it was unusual what she filed. I think that's probably something in Utah that's pretty standard. I've never seen it quite filed that way. But my guess is that's something that's fairly routine out there. It certainly didn't raise my eyebrows any, but I understand people had issues with that. Now I see people arguing about my hair. I can't please you guys. I've already told you I'm going to fix the sound. I'm going to fix the blur. I've promised you. Now you complained about my hair. All right, guys, let me roll through some of these. Oh, real quickly, before I get to the supers, let me tell you what's coming on this week. So I will not be here tomorrow. I'm going to do the members live with Coach Colin. Coach is going to join me, I think, at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, we'll jump in. We'll have a good time. I told him to prepare for about an hour. Maybe we'll go a little longer than that. Both of us want to be off the air before the Queen Bee herself goes at usually around 4 o'clock on Monday. So we will be off before then, well before then. So a couple hours max, but probably closer to an hour. At some point, I will open that member live up to the rest of the people. But, the promise is, and it does help contain the chat a little bit, and we can have a little more Q&A with the members because it's a smaller group. But the promise is to the members is you get some value. You get to see things before other people see it. So that will happen tomorrow. And then Tuesday I'm off because I've been invited on another program, and that program airs before my program. And if I go on that program, I won't be able to prepare and get back to this program Tuesday night. To make up for that, because I'm trying to go 4 days a week, I probably will have to go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you can probably expect a Wednesday show, a Thursday show, and a Friday show, because I've tried to commit, unless something goes terribly wrong, that I will give 4 of the non-member shows, 4 free shows a week. So that is it. That is the plan for the week. For those of you asking, Candace is spelled with an A, Candace. That is how you spell that. Okay, so that's the upcoming plan for this week. Again, tomorrow, Indiana game. Everybody root for the Cream and Crimson. And then Tuesday, guesting with someone else that day. And then that's the plan right now. I guess that could always change. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I will be here. Now, if something changes and I don't end up on another show, then I'll probably do a show here Tuesday. I have my next 3 shows lined up. I already know what they're going to be. So it's not a prep issue necessarily. It is I have to be sitting here in front of the thing. And I got to get this camera fixed. I can't do the blur thing. This is driving me crazy. I can't imagine what it's doing for you guys. The audio, I see the delay as well. I see it's about 200 milliseconds, 250 maybe. I'll get that fixed as well. That's just plugging the mic and camera into the same device. All right, here we go. Rolling. What are the top 3 pieces of evidence that Charlie Kirk wasn't shot? For me, shirt moving before the wound, necklace breaking, no exit wound. Has anyone actually attempted to answer the first 2? I agree with you on all 3 of those. That's, to me, the top 3 pieces of evidence, I think. Not in that order. No exit wound is probably the primary piece of evidence for me. Shirt moving second, and then necklace breaking third. I think in 1, 2, 3, that's the order I would handle those in. But no one has attempted to answer the shirt moving before the wound. And no one has attempted to answer the necklace breaking. I can't show it on this program because YouTube absolutely melted down the last time I showed moving footage of him being taken down. But I encourage you, there are 2 images, one from Charlie's right, one from Charlie's left. Both of them show the back of his shirt completely puff up like my hoodie here, but it's his t-shirt. It goes way back before he moves. Like you can see him tense up in the back of the shirt, like a huge gust of air rushes into the back of his shirt. That's before the necklace breaks. That's before the necklace comes whipping out of the shirt. That's before the neck moves. That's before his head moves. It's just the first frame where anything happens, there's a giant blast of air in the back of the shirt. If I am the defense team, that picture is on a giant poster board, and it is standing next to me on an easel, physical poster, not something on PowerPoint. I'm talking a physical poster board that is next to me during my entire opening statement. That's how I would handle that. Because I think that picture is so devastating to the gunshot narrative. So devastating. It's, to me, nearly definitive that there was no gunshot. Or at least there was something other than a gunshot. If you want to say there was a gunshot, that's fine. But there was something other than a gunshot, or the shirt wouldn't move like that. Let the discovery begin. Agreed. Request for the Joe Summer line merch. For under $10, you cannot be stupid. I can't believe I said that. We will forever be known as We've Been Here Since Joe members. Yes. You guys have been here since Joe. You guys have been here since before the whole Joe fiasco. I am going to get some merch lined up. I have, again, my sister is coming to join me in February, and we will begin building out the structure of this program a little better. Right now, it's just I'm just freewheeling it here. Like I said, it took me all weekend to get the office set up, and apparently I screwed up the sound. The two worst things you can screw up. All the stuff you can't see is miraculously working perfectly. All the stuff you can see, the sound and the fuzz, the only 2 things you can see, I messed up. So I fall on the sword, ladies and gentlemen. You guys deserve better. Oh, we got a Scuderia Ferrari logo. Nice. You're a superstar, bro. Looking forward to the Queen's royal appointment soon. What do you think on the new F1 season, brother? I saw some news out of the 4 rings. I saw Audi was doing a test, and apparently it sounded really good. So I look for the 11th team, the Cadillac team, to do well. I look for Sauber to do well, or their new Audi version to do well. I'd like to see if Red Bull can nail the regs and get Max back up on top. It'd be fun. Paramount has a show called Lioness. Paramount Plus has a show called Lioness. They've reached out to TPUSA to do one call. Okay, you got me. I didn't see that coming. Maybe from your point of view, the room looks all new, but from our perspective, it's the good old Baron. The periwinkle is winking at us. Yeah, I took care and caution not to move any of this. My wife advised me. She said, no, Baron, these people are just getting to know you. You can't redo your whole background right now. All right. But I mean, from here that way, everything's new. Not new, it rearranged. Very little is new. The camera's new, and apparently I don't have it set up right. Room is darker. You look taller. You're wearing purple. The hell happened while you were gone, counselor? Did the tiny hat gang give you an offer you couldn't refuse? The room's darker because I turned the light down a little bit. At the request of a friend of mine who said it was making me look washed out. And dare I say, someone said I looked oily with the bright light. So I did turn the light down from 12 to 6. Maybe I should turn it back up. I didn't know the brightness of the room was such a concern. I'm not taller. I'm still exactly 6 feet tall. So that has not changed. And I'm in the same exact seat. I'm dying to get a new seat, but I can't afford a new seat while I'm getting new cameras. A camera costs as much as a chair would cost, and I can only do one this month. So maybe next month I'll get a new seat. Hi, Baron. You're making the high IQ outfit so fashionable. I'm now in search for one. Always looking forward to your openings. By the way, my kids always get a big kick out of your impersonations. Well, thank you for the yen bucks first. I honored that you're watching from all the way over there in the island nation of Japan. I don't do a ton of impersonations. I don't do a ton of impersonations. I'll be honest. A lot of people can do accents well. Every accent I do comes out Indian, like from New Delhi. Every one. I can try Hispanic accents. I can try island accents. I can try South American accents. I can try different European accents. They all come out Indian. So I don't do them because then people think I'm being racist, and I'm not. I just don't do them well. Philadelphia mint blue hoodie. You've been watching the coach. One, did Tyler Robinson have any social media? I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so. I know he had like gamer accounts and stuff. 2, if so, have you researched the writing style? I have not. 2, did you see the X post I tagged you in TP Whistleblower that said Charlie Kirk found out who Erica really was and divorce was certain? I did not see that. I will have to find that. Van Allen Radiation Belt, always such a good commenter that I will go find that. Baron, as our growing little podcast village works tirelessly to culminate both life and in biblical sense, we might be branded as Baron's culminators. Hey. If we're culminating in the biblical sense, we're not going to know each other biblically. We're just going to culminate biblically. I'm not sure I don't want people getting the wrong idea about the comment section here. I mean, if you guys want to know each other biblically, that's fine. But thank you, Lynn Maria. We're trying over here. We're doing our best. I wonder if TR would have been arrested if he hadn't turned himself in. Maybe the FBI didn't expect him to surrender and had to scramble to make up a cozy cover story. The friend didn't help Tyler Robinson. I've heard that take that maybe the FBI wasn't expecting him to turn himself in. This from the Grumblers. September 2nd, meeting with Senator McKell and Senator Wilson. September 4, meets with Arnold Ventures in D.C. Arnold Ventures funded the 6th Amendment Center. September 10th, Charlie Kirk at UVU. I don't know what all that means. Are you suggesting that was Tyler Robinson's schedule? I mean, not Tyler Robinson. Charlie Kirk's schedule? I've got a new timeline I'm working on. Commenter Daisy is helping put it together. Actually, she's putting most of it together. It's phenomenal, and you guys will absolutely be wild when you see it. I know the audio's out of sync. I know it. I think the timeline may be Thursday or Friday. I'll end up getting to that because I know I've got Wednesday's show already lined up. I think I might have Thursday's show lined up. So maybe Friday we'll get to the timeline. It is bananas. I know the audio, so I apologize, guys. After Charlie Kirk left UVU, does his security team have any legal right? 1, to remain on scene? Sure. 2, work with police? Sure. 3, sweep the scene? I don't know what you mean by sweep. 4, touch or remove anything. I don't know, man. I go back and forth on that one. Like if Tyler Robinson can be charged with messing with a witness because he told what's his name, Lance Twiggs, to not speak to anyone and to delete stuff. If you can get a charge for that, I don't know how the TPUSA team is out there like taking stuff out of cameras and moving chairs around and walking all over the crime. I don't know. I mean, is it really an issue when UVU paves over the crime scene, removes dirt and paves it over, and then puts a bunch of potted plants everywhere? Someone on Grumble said Tyler did have social media. George Webb has it. He's shooting high-powered weapons. So we'll see. I was able to work an episode of your show into my 13-year-old son's homeschool curriculum. Now, he loves your show, especially when you don't play videos. I was so hoping tonight would go flawlessly on that count. But here I am, begging for your forgiveness, asking if you would please forgive me for that. Now, he loves your show, especially when you don't play videos. If you could give him a shout out, James, he'd love it. Hey, James. That was Senator Cox. Arnold Ventures funded Sixth Amendment Center. Senator Cox, you mean Governor Cox? Yeah, I'll have to check out that timeline you're throwing at me. My dude, I was about to turn some pages in, make him a sandwich. Then I sprung out of bed, went to the living room and let my husband know Barron's on. Now he knows to watch a couple episodes on TV. Make Him a Sandwich is a great book. You should read it anyway. You guys should all watch it. The phrase befuddled by daffodils came to mind when I went, Barron's on. My football team is playing, but I have you in my ear. Are they still playing? I don't even know what time all this happened. Yes, I'm getting so many texts about the audio and the fuzzy video, so I apologize. Just bear with me. Thank you. I see you guys have been very patient. Very patient. Oh yeah, they're still playing. But it's NFL. I mean, honestly. No offense. Eric Kirk hand tattoo, either a glyph of Saturn or a mega sign with a cross on top. Colorless tattoo could be initiation to a secret society. This is a high IQ outfit. Turning point, low IQ outfit. They must have hired Joe. I'm really weirded out by the hand tattoo. The fact that they haven't told us what it is. I mean, it's there. Have you guys seen it? Do I need to pull it up? This is a high IQ outfit. You guys have probably all seen it. Erica Kirk hand tattoo. Check this out. Is that really it? I think that's it. Let me see if I can share this. You see that? Right there? What is that? Who gets a tattoo there? And it looks like she's got something kind of here too. But what is that? I would like to know. Particularly in the wake of all the cult-like activity and everything that people get branded and tattooed. I'll be honest, I was a little weirded out when Brian Harpole said he made his security team get some giant arm tattoo. Like, bro, calm down. I want to be a security guard, not joining a cult. Chat, please focus on the content and info. He has a new setup. Get it dialed in for the camera and audio sync. He's dropping knowledge. Hit that like. There you go, Trigger Smart. Trigger's, he's a camera guru. He understands. I actually may jump on a call with him and ask me to help him set it up. I know what the sound issue is. And I wondered if that would be a problem when I hook to two different items, hook the camera and the sound to two different places. But we'll get it fixed. Guys. Calm down. Oh my gosh. I know what you're doing on Tuesday. Are you participating in 3D Response X-Space Tuesday night? That would be awesome. 3D Response. I don't know what 3D Response is. I don't know what that means. So I've not been invited. Last time I showed up somewhere I wasn't invited, I didn't have a very good time. Let me say this about X-Spaces. Sometimes I just like to listen. Like, I was moving all this stuff around my office and I had all my equipment down on the floor and I'm like setting out new places to put everything up. And I've got earbuds in. I don't even have my mic up. I don't have my computer up. I got earbuds and a phone. And then I think, oh, I need to go make dinner for my kids. So I go in there. My wife bought them some little sirloin steaks. We got some pizzas out. I'm in there cooking up, listening to an X Space. It was interesting talk. But I listened to it just like I would a podcast. And all of a sudden the host was like, oh, I see Barron's here. Barron, chime in on this. What do you think of that? And I'm like, like neck deep in pizza dough. I got steak sizzling I'm moving them around with my elbow. Sometimes I just want to listen. So I don't know if there's a space. I wasn't invited, but if I get invited, I might show up. Love your show, B. Your honesty and conviction was palpable in the first Charlie video you posted. Been a fan ever since. Any insight on what's happening with Greenland? Nah, probably just negotiation. I doubt we're going to take Greenland. I mean, we've taken stuff before. But my guess is it's just a negotiating tactic. Like Trump probably wants to get some mineral rights out of there, another base up there or something. And so he's like, we're going to take you. And they're like, no, please don't take us. You can have some minerals. Oh, okay. You get what you want. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's my guess. I'm 54. Before 9/11, the Oklahoma City bombing, along with Columbine, warped my worldview. Both Columbine and OKC seemed like they were psyops. OKC definitely was. That's my humble opinion, but I think that absolutely was an inside job. Again, my opinion. I might do a show on that one day because it's 30 years old. Everybody knows about it, but that is nuts. That is nuts. And Columbine, there's something too. If you go, and there's websites out there where you can read all the transcripts of all their interviews and all that. And if you do that, and I've done that because I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of Columbine one time. But if you go through and read all their stuff, it's not really consistent with the mainstream narrative. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go into all of it, but a lot of the stuff that happened and people were being asked questions, and a lot of that doesn't hold up when you read the statements. And a lot of the people saw other shooters. They even named them by name. They thought they were other students. Some people saw people in military tactical gear. I mean, I love today's hoodie. It's my favorite color. Oh, you like ice blue or whatever this is called? I have to go back and look at the color name of this. So it's got the word blue in it, but it's definitely got a little purple hue to it. Rest on your days off. So enjoy every show. Absolutely the best of the best. Well, I want to rest on my days off, but I also want to reset up the office. Like I had to. Trust me, it's so much better in here than it was. It was a total wreck. If you guys saw the condition I was doing shows in, you would not believe I was able to do them. To thumbs up the video when watching on phone, X out the live chat, turn phone sideways, tap screen, then hit thumbs. This is an incredible high IQ podcast. Hold on, senor. Hold on. My pencil's smoking over here. He gave you that's how you do it. Thank you, Jess. Very, very thankful for the high IQ donation as well. Thank you very much for that. And thanks for telling people how to like it. I notice I get on the stats of every show what percentage of people watch on a mobile, on a laptop or desktop, and then on a TV. I think it's the TV people having trouble with the like button. Everybody else seems to be able to hit it. Bear with Barron as he gets his bearings together. I like that. I like that, Cash Money. Like that a lot. Great opening statement. You made a good case for investigation of the problem of high-profile shootings and their cause. Why don't we do it? The results, if true, might inform us and mitigate the problem. Maybe we'll start doing that. Maybe that's why I gave that opening statement. Maybe you see, Gary, that there's a method to the madness on this program. And we'll see how it relates to the current high-profile shooting we're all investigating. I got the nastiest email the other day about me doing this. The nastiest email. Telling me that if I was too infantile to be able to sit still for 3 hours, mind you, and 4 days a week, not to mention the hours I sit in here, 6, 8, 10 hours prepping for a 3-hour show, that if I can't sit still, I shouldn't have a show. And I wrote back and I was like, look, I appreciate your concern. Your point is duly noted. But I'm not going to change it because I like to get a little blood flow in my legs every now and then. Interesting, there were 2 barriers and crowd was farther back at UVU. Looked at past events, not the same. Maybe needed if there was a planned big bang. I noticed that as well. The sound guy was in a different place. Security people were in different places. The mic guy was in different. There was a lot of differences. We may go through that as well. Timeline is my next major tackling thing because there's a whole lot we're adding to the timeline that other shows that have good timelines. Like Candace put a timeline together. It's very, very good. I'm not knocking her timeline, but we're adding different things on this program's timeline that I think are going to illuminate a little broader, perhaps, idea of what's happening. It's orchestrated so they can take our guns and more of our rights. A scared population is an easily controlled population. That was my point. You're on track to be better, Tucker Carlson, just without all the CIA crap. I'm not in the CIA. But isn't that what a CIA person would say? No, I'm just kidding. It won't be long till you get 1 million subs and doing high-profile interviews. This is by far one of the best channels on YouTube. All of that, and I can't even get the camera to stop fuzzing me out. I can't get my audio synced. So thank you, Roll That Beautiful Bean footage. I'm doing my best out here. Oh, thank you. The one you feed. Hey, Bay. Bay? I'm your Bay? I'm not your Bay. Reading Program to Kill, McGowan describes the origin and strategy of the killing sprees. Goes deeper than chaos. Viewer discretion is advised. I want to watch that. Is it reading Program to Kill? Now let me take a photo here. Now that I got my new setup, you guys are going to see me taking photos. Because everything's back farther. Thus probably the problem with the opening statement was epic. One of the best ever. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. Very kind. Hoodie is FBI lilac. No, it's not. So glad you're covering the Tyler Robinson hearing. I watched the whole thing and hope you'd share your thoughts. They tried hard to get rid of the cameras. Yeah, they did. And I don't understand the deep desire. I understand what the defense is saying. I heard them say in the hearing, I watched a big chunk of it. I heard them say in the hearing that they felt like anytime Tyler Robinson communed with his lawyers, sometimes people laugh, even people who are in prison and have done horrible things. I'm not saying he did, but sometimes they laugh. And it doesn't mean he's a psychopath, right? So that's why I think they're trying to get rid of the cameras on Tyler Robinson because every time he does anything that's not like, I'm a horrible person, anytime he's not looking down at his shoes saying, oh, shucks, Jack Posobiec is putting something up on Twitter about him. And it's, audio and video not saying, yeah, we've covered that. I apologize. We're going to get it right. Hang with us. Just deal with it for one night. We'll be back. If you get the color pink and hoodie, make sure everyone knows it's called Chasuble Rose. May our Blessed Mother continue to intercede for you. Thank you. The vestments are rose-colored vestments. The 2 weeks before Christmas and 2 weeks before Easter. They're not pink. They're rose-colored vestments. This is similar to what Blake Lively did to small social media creators. She hired an ex-CIA man to help her team. A warning shot across the bow. 36 from Toms River, New Jersey. I work around people older, most conservative, but believe the Fed slop narrative. They refuse to question narratives of past events. Yeah, think of how smart you guys are. Think of how smart you are that you're able to withstand these billions of dollars in free advertising trying to tell you how to think. It's incredible. The amount of money they spend is incredible in media. Anyone remember videos someone posted online September 10th showing an individual running across the roof dressed in all black? Yes, I remember that. Then footage shows person lying on the roof. Yeah, we saw both of those. I mean, those are pretty well circulated. Watched Wolves in Finance earlier, stepped right up to help him out. Great advice. Yeah, I mean, everybody throw him a bone. This is how this works. Look, let me say this. You either support the creators you like, or they go away and you're stuck with the ones you don't. You're stuck with Ben Shapiro. Like, that's just a fact. Ben Shapiro doesn't need your support. Why? He's got literally hundreds of millions of dollars coming in from other places. Wolves and Finances does not. Wolves and Finance does not. If you like his stuff and you don't support him, he'll stop doing it. That's just a fact. This is the nature of the internet. If you find someone you like and you support them, they'll continue doing it. You guys supported me so much that I was able to give you 2 days a week. And I was just doing Sunday nights. And then you guys were like, hey, can you do another show? So I started doing Wednesdays, Sunday and Wednesday. And then you're like, hey, can you do a third show? Yeah, I'll do Monday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. And then finally it was like, can you go full time? Yeah. If you'll keep supporting me, I'll go full time. And I stepped right out on a limb of faith. Don't cut it off behind me. I got 8 kids. The more I see that comes out of it, I find it strange that Charlie's parents haven't spoken out. Coach Collins Day was great. Also, Wolves and Finance is just the beginning. Yeah, I'm weirded out by Charlie's parents not speaking out. I keep hearing they're just private people, and I'm like, no one's that private. I heard they impaneled a grand jury for Tyler Robinson. Will that mean the May preliminary hearing will not happen and evidence will not be publicly disclosed? No, that doesn't mean that. I mean, it might not happen. No. The evidence. Well, let me back up. The preliminary hearing might get moved, but it'll happen. You have to have one. You have to have a hearing. But the grand jury, you will not see what's presented to the grand jury. That's correct. If they take it to a grand jury, you will not see what happens there. I don't know what the law is in Utah. Some states require them, some don't. You mentioned doing a show with Jason Goodman with possible info about John Cullen. Is that still coming? You just reminded me I need to reach back out to him. Let me do it right now. Well, actually, let me wait and see what day it will work. Tomorrow won't work. Tuesday won't work. Wednesday won't work. Thursday, Friday. Maybe. Yes, it's coming. I definitely want to do that show. I've been watching Jason Goodman for years. And I talked to him on the phone, texted back and forth. He's a good dude. We don't agree on everything, but he's a good dude. I really think he's a great personality. Like, he's good for the game. Even when you don't agree with him, he's good for the game. So yes, it's still coming, Mark and Shawnee. Thank you. And you guys always such good donors. I mean, just fantastic. Thank you. If I was Erica Kirk, I would see Candace Owens as an asset, not an enemy. I would realize she also lost Charlie and has had a very hard time with his passing. I would probably encourage people to be kind to her, unless, of course, she's getting too close to the truth. So Erica's official story was that for a while she was learning. You remember that? Oh, I didn't say anything to Candace. I was learning from her. Well, what were you learning? I think it's important. Tell us what you were learning. What were you learning from Candace? That's to me important. That's important to me. Charlie, ask me any questions you want. TP, ask us nothing, and if you continue, I will sue you. Great job. So excited for you to be a full-time podcaster. I watch every episode. Go Max. Thank you, Real Cora Kennedy. Hey, not only that, Charlie Kirk took abuse from certain people. Like, his spats with Nick Fuentes were legendary. They hated each other. And it got public. Like, they said things publicly. He didn't sue him. Why would he? Baron, you should represent Zach from Wolves and Finance. He's a good lawyer. Also, you're the best. I don't live in Indiana. I don't live in Arizona, and I'm not licensed in either place. I cannot represent him. I can't represent him. And I don't know that would, again, if I represent him, now I can't talk about it. So that wouldn't work. Charlie lost his life fighting for free speech. Meanwhile, TPUSA attempts to sue anyone that says anything they don't like. Is it ironic? Poor Charlie. Life mission being trampled on. Yeah, that's my thought. Your cough. Consider adding lemon, honey, and ginger powder to your jar of warm water. Also look for lung tea. Dr. Morse has a great one. Lung tea? Sounds disgusting. Oh, you're saying a tea that would be good for the lungs, not tea made out of lungs. I bought my dog. You guys donated to the dog treat fund, and I used it. I told you I would. I went out and bought like $90 worth of dog treats because someone gave me $90 for dog treats. I did it. But I wanted to get her some new stuff. I didn't want to just get the same stuff. So one of them was dried beef lung. I've never. It's like the fentanyl lean, man. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad it is. She cannot get enough of it. It is something in that dried beef lung that's got her. So when you said lung tea, I was thinking that. The cough is asthma. I can't really help it. It just exists. I have a little thing that I use. Would Erica have to sign off on a letter like that to Zach since she is CEO? I would think she would probably want to know about it, but I don't think there's anything that requires her to know about it. When overhauling your office, you forgot to remove your gallery. The guy who went back on every single campaign promise he made. You do great work. Well, you notice you can't see his head. Those could be anybody's hands. No, I tried to keep the. So this is obviously a different camera. It's different millimeter lens, and I moved it back. It's back like the old camera was right here. This camera's all the way over here. Like it's way back there. But if I kept going back enough that you could see him, then you could like see my belt. We're not going that far back. So I had to compromise. I don't know what I'm going to do back here. You guys may just not see his face. Because I tried to keep me about the same size as I was. What I and probably many others like about your channel is your common sense and your logic. That's because I'm a trained professional, Gary. Trained professional. Taken many logic classes in my life and bought a book. And also bought a book. Since it's obvious Zach is over the target, he should respond to them and say, see you in court. Look forward to discovery. So the advice I give clients typically is if you're in court, you've already lost. Most people don't want to go to court. I'm assuming Zach is in that camp. It's very expensive. I finally found my people. Yeah. Grand jury, super fun group. Thanks, Baron. Yes, the grand jury, the member side, they are having a great time over there. You guys will have a fun treat. Mañana. Dank's guest says TPUSA crossed the line when Eric Kirk supported JD Vance for president at AmFest. His review is enlightening. Unsure about C3 versus C4. I don't think so. I mean, I think a C3 can say, this is who we want to win the presidency. That doesn't jeopardize their C3 status. I think if they say we're going to put boots on the ground and start sending mail and do phone calls as a C3, now you've crossed the line. Did I see redacted today? I didn't. Australia's about to start arresting people for opinions like what they say online. Of course. Australia's nuts. No offense to my people with the A-Bucks out there. This is so similar to Brigitte Macron suing Candace Owens for saying that she has a dong. It's a little Macron. Joel. Does TPUSA think that this is going to work? Are they doing it strictly for intimidation? Either way, we know TPUSA finances are fishy. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see if this is the first of many that they start filing. That, to me, will be pretty telling. This has been the most professional, high-IQ YouTube show you've done yet. Wow. Thank you. I didn't jinx anything. Oh, gosh. Did you say that before I stopped? I didn't do the share correctly? Oh, I bet you did because you said, hope I didn't jinx anything. Roll Hoosiers, rooting for y'all from Florence, Alabama. Home of the UNA Lions, Florence, Alabama. Thank you. This is long-term orchestrated psyop to manufacture consent for foreign wars and strip our rights. 9/11 brought forth the Patriot Act terror wars, mass shootings to take guns, DEI, right versus left, nonsense to convict us to restrict First Amendment. I don't know that I disagree with any of that. I was looking for something to pick apart, but I don't know that I disagree with any of it. In my opinion. The super is for your masterful production. Now, I know it's early, but at 48 minutes, there's been no hold, please. You guys did this. I had no idea you guys were doing this. I had a good show going. Things were moving well. I mean, obviously, the audio wasn't entirely synced. Granted. Obviously, the auto focus was all screwed up and the setting was wrong. Granted. But I was sharing the videos. Like it was playing when I hit play. I even figured out how to get the audio sounding better in my ears so I didn't have to take an earpiece out every time I played a video because the left side was blasting me out. I got that fixed. Everything sounded amazing in my ears. Everything was playing, and then you guys came along and jinxed it. The broadcaster's jinx. So now I feel better. It wasn't my fault. Late here, but for good luck tomorrow and Tuesday. Yes, tomorrow and Tuesday. Tuesday's going to be fun. It's going to be a big day. Boyer was convicted of fraud, but pardoned. Austin Smith pled guilty to fraud. Fraud still occurred regardless. But I don't think that was TPUSA related. Wasn't that his role in the January 6th stuff? I'd be more bad about accused of committing fraud if I was committing fraud. Yeah, same. You should ask Zach to be on your show. He's done his homework on TPUSA finances. Yeah, I could do that. I'd be happy to have him on the show. He's a smart dude. I really like him. I like him when he's not just talking about finances. Like his show on the Pipe Bomber was great. Christ is king indeed, Mama Duck. Thank you for all you do. Something I think about often. Charlie's parents and sister, why do you think they've been completely silent? No questions, forced to be silent, scared for their own lives? I think it's probably highly likely that they don't. God, I got to be careful here. It would surprise me to learn that they believed Tyler Robinson did all this by himself and was solely responsible, and that nobody else near Charlie Kirk had any role whatsoever. That would surprise me to learn that. And so what do you want to, I mean, what are they going to say? They're going to come out and say that? I mean, they're sharing kids with this woman, by the way. Keep that in mind. I'm an opinion machine on T-shirt. Am I an opinion? Did I say I'm an opinion machine? How about baronology for a name? Baronology. Well, that sounds like you're studying me. I'm not sure that I want that. Did you hear that, Tyler? Barron would never do that to you. We're a very open-minded, high IQ audience, Mr. Boyer. That's correct, Mr. Boyer. That is absolutely correct. You know I invited him on the program. I don't know if all of you were on when I did. I texted him, invited him on the program, and he was very kind in his response. Said he would keep an open line about it, but didn't want to. I don't remember exact words he used. Didn't want to commit to it or whatever. It was a polite way to say no, but I mean, at least he responded. Lighting is better, not so washed out. Turned off the NFL to watch you. Packers are out anyway. Yeah, you got to be real careful about saying what's going on in an NFL game while it's going on. The NFL takes that very seriously. I think the lighting looks a little bit. It's harder for me to see in here, frankly. But it doesn't. I don't feel myself wincing. I like doing this quite as much to read. So maybe it's better. It's darker in here. Like the camera's doing a lot of work bringing this brightness up. Tyler Robinson was Epsteined. Would the public see evidence for the case? No. Case would close immediately, in my opinion. Autopsy, weapon, if it goes away, why is Tyler Robinson still around? Probably he knows they're going to throw the trial, letting him off completely. I don't believe that's coming. I still believe he'll take a plea, but you got to play it out. You got to make it look believable. You can't get in there and take a plea till you've seen the evidence. But I think he'll probably take a plea. I doubt there'll be a trial. I don't know, maybe. 1996 Port Arthur massacre in Australia, disarmed citizens. Yeah, you guys have a bad history over there in the island nation. What would be the reason that Tyler Boyer was pardoned by the president? Why did he obtain a large amount of money before Charlie Kirk was killed? I don't know that he obtained a large amount of money before Charlie Kirk was killed. I don't know that. And if it DV did, I don't know that it was related or fraudulent. So that's outside of my fact basis. He was pardoned by the president, I believe, because the president committed to pardoning all the people involved in the January 6th event, and he finally got around to pardoning Tyler Boyer. That's my guess. You'd have to ask the president. Clown of the Year, Nobel Prize definitely goes to TPUSA. Agreed. I think they've been horrific since he passed. Anyone else dealing with a baby boomer who wants nothing to do with the truth about the assassination? Yes, like half the world. With all that money, those kids aren't going to traffic themselves from Romania to the safe houses. I don't care what anyone says. They're guilty of something sinister either way. I will say this. There are a lot of weird things. A lot of weird things around TPUSA, man. I just, like, there's so much weirdness. It's kind of like the Bill Clinton argument. You know, if you like, I'll ask you, every single person in the audience, how many people have you been associated with that have died under suspicious circumstances, either been murdered or just died and like it was a really suspicious death? I mean, you know, your average person, 0, maybe some of you 1, maybe the random outlier, a couple, like you were around a couple people who got murdered different times. How many of you in the audience have been around like 50? You know 50 people you were associated with that were murdered or died. That's the problem. That's the problem with the TPUSA. That's the problem with Bill Clinton. Not that TPUSA is around a bunch of suspicious murders, but they're around a bunch of weirdness. And I think that'll start to come out here in the near future. TPUSA, very shady. Great live. Thank you, Short Coin. Short Coin in the house. Chat names, the Proffers, Fearless Factuals, Berenstain Bears. I like that. The Wigglers. Coleman Campers are my favorite. No Joes. That poor Joe. Man, Joe is just taking it from every angle. Recommendation, you need a cap on the bottom of your mic. It faces us, the camera. It's been ordered. It was $29.99. I couldn't turn it down. It's been ordered. I have no idea when it'll get here, but it's been on the way. I don't know when it'll be here, but it's going to be the white logo with the blue square and the little thing in the middle, not the RBP, but the little sound thing logo. It's on the way. But thank you for that recommendation. I'll put your $5 towards the debt. First time super. First time in a live. Don't have work tomorrow, so I can watch the whole live. Christ is King. Vivo Cristo Rey. Christ is King indeed, Lydia. Congratulations for the day off. Yeah, tomorrow is the Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday. And so enjoy the rest if you get the day off. You know what? I used to, I should do it again. I've got his autobiography over there, and it's got his last speech in it, where his last speech he ever gave was really creepy because he predicted his own death. I had to read that at the end tonight. Really creepy. Not creepy. I mean, almost like Charlie. You know, Charlie kind of predicted he was going to die. Kind of knew it was coming. It seemed like Martin Luther King might have known it was coming as well. I stop everything to hit like when Baron asks. I like that Express Moon. Father Figure Authority translates and commands us, yes, sir, reaction. Now you're talking. Thank you for your hard work and wisdom. Yes. You yes, sir, me. You can get just about anything you want. That works. Broke my ankle Saturday night. Now I'm Baron binging. Really, Joe? Let me say this. I broke my ankle in May of 22. It's a tough recovery at our age. I don't know how old you are, but at my age, it was a tough recovery. I was like 42 or 3 at the time. It sucks. Best of luck to you. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Love your show. First YouTube channel worthy of a paid subscriber. I need a hoodie that says this is a high IQ outfit. That's going to be the first hoodie, obviously. I just got to get it designed up and printed and, decide how I'm going to go about it. But it's coming. It's coming. Love the outfit double entendre. Intro to RBP. Jesus is Lord. Go Max. Yeah, we're working on it. People assume they have a natural right to airspace above the property. This is incorrect. The FAA controls all airspace. I'm not going to argue with you. How do we actually know Charlie said Erica should take over? We don't. The only people that are saying that are TPUSA people that wanted Erica to take over. We don't know he said that. And it goes against everything he seemed to say about what he would want Erica to do. We don't know that at all. Isn't the only person saying it happened are all the players? Yes. Seems like a play to get the masses on board with her taking over. Yes. And more yes, where the yes came from. And when you're done with the yes on top of yes, how about some more yeses? Great comment. wife of a Finn. Weird. I was happy to hear the defense motion. They did not accept the fact, either a gunshot or explosion. The head prosecutor on the stand agreed. What are your thoughts? I would have, I understand what you're saying. They basically said we're not accepting anything. And yeah, I should play that exchange. I don't know how I would find it right now, because I don't know that accurately captures it. That's not exactly how I remember it. But I agree that I did take a little heart in the defense, seemed to push back on the narrative a little bit. Not as much as I would have. Like, I would have been there and said, I'm not even accepting Tyler Robinson was in the state. Like, you got to prove every single fact. And they didn't quite, that's how I would have handled it, but they didn't quite go that route. The drones are just another lie from TPUSA. If they want us to take them at their word, they need to stop lying. Yeah. Yes. I'd like to see the B-roll. Can we see anyone on the roof? Remember, Jesus loves you. The B-roll would have been long before there was someone on the roof. So I don't think that B-roll would help at all. I know you deserve better production. I'm sorry, Boise Jet guy. Especially you. You've contributed to the program. You gave me a good tip. You gave me good video that I could review. You deserve better. I'm going to tighten it up. This will be a high IQ outfit by the time you come back on Wednesday. Sir, you say this is a high IQ outfit, and you have the AU freaking dacity to be a Hoosiers fan. You disappoint me. Oh. Okay. I was born a Hoosiers fan. I have a degree from Indiana University. I don't know why they are the greatest football team on the planet right now. Come on. I found out Charlie and I went to similar school teaching Wayne Grudem's systematic theology. I decided to do a video on how that affected his politics. I would like to see that. Timothy Crespi. I don't even know who Wayne Grudem is. Baron, first time sending a super chat to anyone. We've had 3 or 4 of those today. Thank you, daughter of the first true king. 1228. I love your show. Husband asked me to do something. I said, hold, please. While cracking up laughing. He just stared at me. I may spend more time with you than I do him. Invite him. Well, I don't always tell him to invite him, but invite him. Invite him in. He'll get it. He'll fall in love. From the Grumblers, Moon had dock ties to South Korea's Gov and KCIA in 60s and 70s. 77, 78 Fraser Committee found the Unification Church was used as a political influence network with intel linked, including Liberty. Hey, so go watch Grumbler. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Go watch Ian's last live he did about the Moon Cult. It's a part 1. He does a great job with all that. Dear Baron, I'm emailing my solution to you again for when you forget to share the video. Thank you, Whitney. I'm so embarrassed. I think I may stop watching if you never screw up again. Got to have some serious stuff. I will get it right one day, and I hope you continue to watch. $5 to go towards the Mrs. Coleman Help Your Hubby Fund. We love you in spite of your tech issues. Yeah, she even did say one time, like, this isn't getting cute anymore. So you need to die. You need to figure this out. That's when I was like, all right, I've got 2 days before I do another show. I'm spending 2 days getting the office set up perfectly. Like, this is going to be flawless. Everything's going to flow this way. And I will know, because I was looking this way and I couldn't even see out of the corner of my eye. Now everything's flowing this way because I'm watching here. I still screwed it up. I can move it a little closer, but then it's going to interfere with the lighting. So I got to figure it out. I called it. Knew it was coming. That's why we love you so much, Baron. So brilliant and yet so human. You're the man. Please never change that. Absolutely. Greatness. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you, Ivan, for the incredibly, exceptionally kind words. Very, very polite. It has to happen. We love it and we miss it. Stay. I wish you guys loved me for my good stuff, not for the screw ups. I wish you guys were like, man, every time you bring the heat, it's just on point. It's perfect. every time you share a video, that video goes up, and nobody shares videos better than you do. Nobody. It's the best waiting for you to realize we aren't seeing the clip. Please don't ever change a perfect show. Just wouldn't be the same. Love it. Makes me LOL every time, Maria. One day, Maria, you're not going to get that. So I hope you find something else in the program that interests you. I'm stunned, disgusted, and angered for the lack of coverage of Robinson's case and now legal letters. Ridiculous. Thank you. Thank God for the remnant people refusing to back down and ask questions. Thank you, Barron, and being a part of the remnant. So here's my thought on this. Like, I could cover anything. Like, I like covering news. I could cover lots of different stories. I'm staying on this story for one reason and one reason only. If we get off this story, they're going to cover it up and it's going to go away. Not we, like my only channel, but there's half a dozen of us that are out here covering this pretty, at least half the time or more. And if we stop, it will go away. It absolutely will go away. And so the only way to keep it from going away is to not stop. Not stop. I know, I almost made it, Gary. I'm sorry. Next super chat's on me. Recently found Baron and fell in love with the content. The Catholicism, the high IQ outfit jury, the hoodie bets became a member today. God bless you, Mr. Coleman Esquire. Thank you, KM 3286. Welcome to the club. Welcome aboard. Watching from Australia with your mom. Love the unique perspectives your experience allows you to bring to the case. Thank you, Caitlin. Very kind. Tell your mom I said, hey. I don't know why we say mom and they say mom. I don't quite understand that. But whatever. We're a forgiving audience. We won't require you to doing the walk of shame when you mess up. Keeps it real, being human. This doesn't mean I like to do it. Do not take away the point. Holy guys, come on. It was only 32 seconds today. I caught it early. We wanted professionalism. We'd go watch literally any other podcast. Okay, so we're watching you. You're the unprofessional. You're the worst. If we wanted someone good, we would go somewhere else. We watch you because you're bad. I see what you're saying. Oh, my goodness. After a 30-year absence, I went back to Mass today. Heavenly morsels. That is such wonderful news. People getting back in church is, the choir of angels rejoiced today. They did. You made a decision. You know what? I'm going to pursue a better path, and I'm going to pursue He who makes it all possible. And that went down in eternal records. That decision for eternity is now recorded. As I say to everybody, though, be on guard. You better follow it up with the walk because they're going to be coming for you. They are going to be coming for you. Baron, you are so good at what you do that even with the occasional production errors, we still want to pay you. Thank you, Slim. Your reactions are priceless. Thank you for your dedication and thanks to your family. Yeah, my family sacrifices a lot for the program, honestly. So don't forget them. Can't remember the Wolves and Finance episode, but if memory serves me, he seemed bent on excluding our greatest ally for any wrongdoing for Charlie Kirk because it was Americans against Americans. Odd. Why exclude anyone yet? I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. But I mean, he can't cover the stuff he's covering really well. He's covering it really well. In fact, he's covering some of the stuff that no one else has even considered covering. So, back what he's covering. And if you disagree with some of it, you're never going to agree with anybody 100% of the time. Barron, the Big Bang came from the stage area as inferior colliculus startle reflex, grassy knoll, would cause the head to turn direction of sudden noise. Everyone kept looking at the stage area. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't considered that. Few people looked around. Like there's a side view that kind of stays afterwards, and a few people look around. But most everybody does continue to look forward. I think, honestly, and I'm not committed to this, I'm not married to this position, but I think the structure of the buildings in that amphitheater really caused a lot of sound issues, being able to determine where things came from and what it sounded like. That's just me. Baron, you were so close. We laughed until we cried. When you did it again tonight, then rewind it. So you watched it twice? Golly. Thank you, Lamb Rocker. Thank you, Steelers girl. I'm sorry, man. I hate to hear you lost your coach. Mike Tomlin was one of my very favorite coaches in football. Steelers coach. They've had 3 coaches since 1969. They're now going to have their 4th. I hated to see Tomlin step down. I really genuinely liked him. Wonder if Rob McCoy is also an independent contractor since Eric Kirk said he did not work for TPUSA. That's a great question. I hadn't considered that. That's a really great question. You're doing a great job. I see nothing wrong with the setup. Good job, Aaron. Yeah, I see it. I mean, I can see the lips don't match exactly, and I can see the zzz, 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 zzz. So we're going to tighten it up. Look, you guys deserve the best. I'm going to give it to you. On a lighter note, watching you in the BC Grand Jury's comments, your review is worth the time. If you haven't, subscribe and like and comment. Yeah, subscribe to the channel for sure. If you want to support the program, but you just don't like doing super chats or whatever, you can become a member. You don't have to go to the member lives, but it does provide a renewable, sort of predictable base that I can rely on to continue to dedicate time to producing content. So that is a great way to support the program. Liking the program will send this episode out into the YouTube algorithm even better than just viewing alone does. So there's lots of ways to support the program. But welcome aboard, everybody. Did you see an email with Sheriff Davis speaking about the phones going off at AES? AES in subject line, timestamp and YouTube link included. No, I did not. But I admittedly am a little behind on emails today. I did get caught up the other day. By Friday, I was caught up, but I'm a little behind again. What do you have to do to become a death penalty lawyer? Well, you have to sit second chair for, I guess every state probably has different requirements, but most states, you have to sit second chair on a death penalty for a few of them before they'll let you kind of take control of one. The reason is that they are so appealed, and appellate courts in states take so much of their resources dealing with death penalty appeals. They want to make sure the lawyers are really good. They don't want just any ham and egg lawyer out there who's doing estates on the side, to pick up a death penalty case, because then they're going to have to defend it on appeal, and they're going to have to do the work for the lawyer and everything else. So they try to make sure the lawyers are pretty good. Trigger Smart had audio problems. Said sending you 313. Did he steal my audio problems too? He owes me 313. I'm just kidding. He gave me more than that. I used to joke to my husband when he turns 40, I'll still be young 38. This year I turned 40. He will be forever 36. Oh, heavenly birthday, Ross. Oh, gosh. Oh, that hurts my heart. I'm glad you're doing okay. B-roll okay. Death roll, not so much. Wolves in finance for the win. Yeah. Wolves in finance is great. TPUSA making low IQ moves. Yeah, they're not a high IQ outfit. No. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. We're at 2:30 and I'm only halfway through. We don't torture people. Yeah. That's a good point. Did someone ride in on a midget horse and advise TPUSA to harass anyone who questions them? There could be a midget horse involved. That poor midget horse. Absolutely didn't deserve it. Please revisit necklace dangling from Charlie Kirk as he's carried. Necklace would not dangle like that. It would hang straight down. I'll have to look at the footage. I've got video, I've got audio. I mean, video, I've got still frames. I'll have to look at it. Actually, I don't know that I have video. I know I have several still frames. But I'll have to go back and look at it. Blue Spark. That's the color. Blue Spark. That's the Adidas color. Blue Spark. If you see, it's blue, but it has a little. Now this is interesting. Based on that admission alone regarding drone, Erica Kirk should be suing the heck out of Brian Harple. Stay tuned. No, Baron, they can't reach out to Zach and do the Christian thing. What were you thinking? Total hypocrites. Yeah, it's bad. Thank you for being a kind soul. You support other content creators. Keep being the bright light in this world. Mods also rock. Best round. We do have good mods. They keep a tight ship running. I watch the replay sometime and just to see. I want the whole show to be good, so I watch the chat as well. Make sure the mods are up to speed, and I watch how they interact with people, and they do a good job. They know when to put people in timeout. They know when to cut people out, and they know how sometimes a gentle correction is all people need. So they do a good job. I try to support other content creators because they've supported me. Like Candace has supported me, been very supportive, helpful, answered questions. Ian has been helpful, answered questions. I was talking to Trigger Smart the other day, and he was helping me with a couple technical issues. So, I don't mind if someone asked me to join them for a little bit if I have the time to join in. Not at all. Happy to help. It's a family, right? It's not a family. I mean, it's a team. We're all on the team. It's us versus the big dogs. You know what I mean? These big dogs with hundreds of millions of dollars, and there's us out here. And if we don't band our arms together and support each other and help each other, then they will crush us. What if he's found not guilty? Will the police start looking for other people, or is it over? Well, the case would certainly not be closed at that point. Yeah. I'm not really that up to speed with what happened with their speedy trial. I don't want to comment out of school and get it wrong. But it seemed like there was a lot of time delays. Yeah. Clerking at Cook County State's Attorney murder trial. Wardire public defender asks all, can you assume my client is innocent? Comes to elderly woman. She says, well, obviously did something, we wouldn't be here. Oh, yeah. I've heard that. That's why, honestly, when people say, what can I say to get out of jury duty? That's kind of my advice is just tell them you can't be fair. I can't be fair. I don't like cops, or I can't be fair. I don't like prosecutors, or I can't be fair. If he's been charged, he probably did something. And no, I can't set it aside and be fair. Sorry. You will not be on a jury. You will not be on a jury. I shouldn't have said that out loud. I don't recommend lying. Be honest, because they're swearing you in. But if there's something that you cannot be fair, but volunteer it. You will not be on the jury. I appreciate your candor and your perspective. It helps us navigate the reality of truth versus our impressions. Go Indiana and go Max. Man, I hope they win tomorrow. Your reaction when you realize you've been staring at the side of your face for 30 seconds is the best. I find myself hoping you'll forget and share your screen show. High IQ and relatable. Now, I don't hope that. I'm humiliated by it. I'm horrified by it. Because I know there are other people watching this judging me. And they're texting me. I get these text messages from people I know. The hell's wrong with you? You're an idiot. Just kidding. I don't even know he said any of that. But I got a lot of people saying, "Hey, you're not sharing." Can I take us on a tour of all the locations, filming locations for At Close Range? I don't know what that means. Filming locations for At Close. Is that like a movie or something? At Close Range, 1986. What is that? Is that filmed around here or something? Pennsylvania Crime Family. Filming Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Oh, actually shot in Franklin and Spring Hill. I could probably find out where it was filmed. Man, that's close. Yeah. You know what? I'll look into that. Max, I never even heard of that movie. But I'll look into it because that's interesting to me. Hey, Baron, love your show. Love your humor. Love your commitments to your followers. What are your thoughts about the conflict of interest in Tyler's defense team, i.e. Terrell Farnsworth? I think it's bad, but again, who can raise the issue? That's my question. Who raises that conflict of issue? Tyler can. Will he? I don't know. The prosecution probably won't. Seems to favor them, right? So, what camera am I using now? I thought I saw somewhere that Farnsworth brother-in-law was on one of the lawyer teams. This is ZVE10 Mark II. I just got a setting wrong. That's all it is. It'll be fine. We'll get it fixed. And it'll stop doing that. Baron, I see no delay or even fuzziness on the camera. Debbie, honey, get your eyes checked. You're a danger on the road. Because I see it. You're absolutely wild when you think you're off camera. First time chatting. Love your show. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Debbie. Very kind of you. But if you don't see the fuzzing, I suggest you drive carefully. Drive carefully. I don't. What do I think he was offered to be the patsy? They're not always offered anything to be the patsy. Sometimes they're just the patsy. Sometimes they're an unknowing patsy. Sometimes he's a knowing patsy, and he was offered, like, you won't go to jail for diddling, whatever. I mean, who knows? Great opener. Wouldn't it be amazing if Tyler Robinson's team was secretly watching you and picking up what you're putting down? I wish they were. I just mentioned that. The ZVE 10 Mark II. I like it. I like it a lot. I got to get that. I didn't, when I tested it 3 different times. I did not see this, but I didn't have the lighting exactly right either. I remember in July or August, an episode of the Charlie Kirk Show where he and Andrew got heated. It's around the time he was headed to Washington State University in Spokane. Have all the F's been deleted? I think this might be critical. Ooh. In July or August, they got heated. Now, they did delete a lot of former episodes. They absolutely did delete a whole lot of former episodes. And former in-person appearances. And I don't know why. I think they got tired of us comparing it, going back and grabbing clips. Grayson, my son, says, hey, thank you for being on a way to bond and question everything. Good morning or good evening, Grayson, wherever you live. Did you get an outpouring of info on your ex-post question on troop deployment? I did. Curious Mind wants to know, thank you so much for being you. Still my fave. God's love and blessings, loyal truth, heart-seeking grand jury member. I did. Yeah, I got a lot of interesting information. Scary information, frankly. A lot of people didn't want to talk on the record, obviously. Love the new lighting. Not so bright. Nice mood lighting. No worries about the issues today. Learning curve. We love you. Big shout out to Mrs. Coleman. And look forward to your sister being on board. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I look forward to her being on board because it will help me tremendously day to day. Yeah, I like the lighting a lot. I'll have to go back and put up 2 shows side by side is how I intend to decide once and for all if I genuinely like the lighting, but I intend to put 2 shows up side by side and see how I like it. Setting 12 versus setting 6. We'll see how they work. When Candace mentioned that Charlie Kirk said he couldn't go anywhere by himself, that is why they had to remove him the way he was removed. Needed to be an elaborate plan to make it look like someone else, but here we are. That's a good point. I hadn't put those 2 together. I'm going to have to skip some of these guys if they look duplicative. Because I'm running out of time. Oh, I did not get a cease and desist. No. Her hand tats are alpha and omega. Is that true? That's a bold hand tat. Is it just a white tattoo? Because those tend to go away. I asked this question with genuine curiosity. How do you square your support of the Catholic Church as an organization with the abuses carried out, mother and baby homes, child abuse cover-ups, etc.? Easy, because humans make all kinds of mistakes in every organization. You wouldn't be able to support any organization, any spouse, any child, any club, any basketball team, any other organization. I mean, my first legal job was representing a church insurance company. That's all I'll say. I don't want to get any more detailed than that. And none of them were Catholic. The horrors we represented from main Protestant denominations. So, if your option is I support no endeavor that has any human activity whatsoever, if that's your backup plan, that's a lonely place to be. The lonely place to be. But thank you for the question. Good question. I don't mind hard questions. That was a hard question. I don't mind them. So bring them. My apologies. I didn't say hello and God bless my first post or second when correcting my Joe IQ. Thank you for all you do. Well, you don't have to. We dispatch with niceties here. We just assume them. If you have no audio, rewind a few seconds to fix. Oh, exit my YouTube app and reopen. Sound fixed. Okay. I didn't know there was that big of a problem. I thought it was just a little millisecond delay. Would love to see you and Jesse on Fire do a collab. I like Jesse quite a bit. Y'all together be super fire. Enjoy your show so much. Keep doing your thing. I've never reached out to him. He's never reached out to me, but I do like him. I like him a lot. Blew it up. Tat is the Masonic star. Why, someone just said differently. But we'll see. Look forward to every show. Pull up a hand tattoo again. It looks to me like a Freemason symbol side by side. I truly think it is. God, great work as always. You guys got a lot of theories on the hand tattoo. Hand tattoo is one she made with her boyfriend, Cabot Phillips, back in New York City. Get your sister on board. Yes. Okay. Alpha and Omega, matching tat with her ex. Boy, I didn't know all this. Wolves is an accountant receiving public docs and appears to suspect fraud. Maybe he should submit a SAR to the IRS. Actual audit, now defunct. Yeah. Okay, Chantel. I believe those are words. I'm not an accountant. I don't know what all you're saying, but I believe Wolves does if he gets a hold of this clip. Your podcast has become a habit, a good habit, though. Some habits are good. Not like a heroin habit, like a good sleeping habit. Groupie name suggestion, Baristocrats. If you hear someone tell the aristocrat joke really well, that can be a great joke. It's Johnny 2 times. Hi, awesome show. I knew we'd see the side of your face tonight. Oh, gosh. Also, OKC would be an amazing show. I have big thoughts and have read it all. Please do OKC. Yeah, so you probably know my take on that. Obviously, there were other people involved. There was FBI involvement. There were shady characters at that camp he was hanging out at. Yeah, it'd be a great show. I've read the books. I've watched the documentaries. I've watched the crazy YouTube videos. It's just a matter of getting it all into one show. I would try to keep that to an hour and a half, and that would be tough. That's kind of my biggest issue. Let's see here. I'm skipping all the hand tattoo stuff because they're a little duplicative, but I appreciate your comments, guys. CPA here with over a decade audit experience with Big Four. That used to be the Big Six when I was younger, by the way, and then they go out of business and it becomes the Big Five and then the Big Four. Zach's FS claims were reckless and unsupported innuendo, devoid of proper guidance, but there's no basis for defamation for any of the 11 claims. Well, those are harsh words. How am I lucky enough to see no blur with the camera? In addition, your mouth is also moving with the sound. Either I'm lucky or just so blind I can't tell. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Harp Crow. I'm a big fan of crows. Huge fan of crows. So much so that I get offended when I walk outside and they fly off. I'm like, no, come back. I'm trying to feed you. I keep some raw macadamia nuts around, and I when I see them out there, I'll put them out by the driveway so they'll come back. I can watch them for a little bit. They like raw cashews, raw macadamia nuts, raw peanuts. I love crows. Big fan. Big fan. Smart birds. Oh, that's kind. Always love my energy and always make you laugh and leave happy. Well, thank you. Wow, daughter was at UVU that day. I know how angry I am it happened with my baby there. Prosecutor should definitely be taken off the case. That's an interesting first-person perspective there. Thank you for sharing that. Obsessed Sports. Baron, you found any new Google Trends and any of these new people or topics. It's such a great tool. Thanks for showing it to us. I got to tell you something about this. They've changed it. I found that out today. I was researching an issue today. I was going back to an event from 2012 or 2015. It used to be, even on historic events, if you would keep the time period under 11 months, you could keep it to one-day answers. They don't do that anymore. The only time you get one-day answers are this year. You go back in the past, they squeeze it all into 1 week. And that changes the whole dynamics. And it even looks different, and it feels different. I'm telling you, I don't think this was on the plan until we started covering this 3, 4, 5 months ago, whenever that was. Yeah, I've been checking. I've been working on it on a story I'm gonna probably cover this week at some point. If you have an issue with audio, just exit out and return. Yep. That's the goal. Finally caught you live. Well, thank you, Juliet Latte. Just wanted to say you're doing a great job, and the mistakes make the show endearing and hilarious. I genuinely prefer. Don't ever feel embarrassed. I do, though, man. Especially, I'll tell you when it hurts the most. When other people that do this stuff for a living, when they comment on it, I'm like, oh, man. Like you feel like a baseball player that let a routine ground ball go between your legs. You're like, I kept telling you guys I wasn't going to do that again. And then it's right between your legs again the next game. Yeah, at some point, they bench you. Just common sensing it. You can see Erica Kirk's. Did you get a new high IQ grandeur? Yeah, you got a new avatar, common sensing it. You can see her weird hand tattoo in the pic of Charlie Kirk in the casket. It looks different from that angle. I've never seen a tattoo that color. Reminds me of people putting on a sticker before tanning so they can see their progress. Those were always weird to me. Like, why do I need to see a 16-year-old at the beach with a Playboy bunny? I'm like, hey. Knock it off. Don't put that on there. No suns, no moons. Don't need all that. That was a thing like in the 80s. We may have just dated ourselves, common sensing it. We all come here because you are the real Barron Podcast. Lighting, audio, video situation doesn't matter. You can laugh at yourself and keep it real. That's why you're so loved. I'm here for it. Well, thank you for the grace and mercy. Thank you for the grace and mercy. Just turned 30 on the 7th. I'm watching you and Candace daily involved in politics. Time to pick a walker and spot at Denny's. Just wait till it hurts to sleep, Keenan. Just wait. It gets worse. Wait till you go, I can't sleep on my left side anymore. It hurts my shoulder. And then you sleep on your right side for a while. You're like, well, I got to sleep on my back because now my right shoulder hurts from sleeping on it. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I keep seeing that, but I've not seen any definitive evidence of that. Gosh, we're way behind. Lady Di from Texas sending you some YouTube love from an otherwise grumble listener. Keep on keeping it real, Baron. Love your show, being full of truth and giving glory to Yeshua, our Lord and Savior. Yeah, somebody asked me the other day, legitimate question, and I wasn't upset by it, but they said, what is grumble? Where do I get grumble? I'm like, you talking about rumble? They're like, well, you always call it grumble. I'm like, well, I say a lot of weird things. It's part of the charm. Charlie Kirk's parents are truly in a custody battle with Eric Kirk. Wouldn't it help their case to stay quiet and not speak about things? Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. Also, take knack for your lungs with this money. I own like a bunch of knack. The problem is it messes with my asthma. The knack 600 does. I know 600 is just a milligram, but it messes with my asthma. I used to take it with ALA, alpha lipoic acid, and NAC together, and maybe that was the problem because it also made my feet cramp. And someone said that combo can cramp your feet. So maybe that was the problem. Maybe I need to try it again without the ALA. Yes, don't we all? Actually, let's not get murdered, Stephen. Let's stay on this side of the dirt. But if, not when, if I want Candace investigating. Yes. Fellow Middle Tennessee CrossFitter. Shout out to CrossFit Gallatin and L1 here. My wife is a longtime viewer and recently introduced me to you. Big fans. Appreciate you. Curious where you buy your hoodies. I get them on Amazon. Amazon. If you go to Amazon and you search Adidas Essentials hoodie, you'll see the one with the Adidas triangle on the left breast. And it's the most comfortable, best cut hoodie. I do CrossFit in it. I did CrossFit in a hoodie today. Did Grace, Middle Tennessee dog, CPA. Did Grace and did a little pull-up exercise afterwards. So it sucked. I'm not very fast at it. It's embarrassing. The two people I was with might have beat me by a lot, but I had fun. That's the point, isn't it? You get fit and have fun. Thanks for listening. And shout out to CrossFit Gallatin up there. Chair fun. Thanks for all you do, Bad Cop. Yeah, I got to have a chair, Courtney. I'm working on it. That's next month. I got kids, got bills, one item at a time. Upgrade the camera this month, upgrade the chair next month. And if I could just improve one item a month, then by like 2037 we'll have a production worthy of your time. Enjoy your videos, Baron. Zach DeGregorio was the whistleblower to a fraud case against the Democratic governor of New Mexico back in 2022. I did not know that. That's what I thought. It looked like the Nexium cult symbol. I absolutely, I would never forget about you, Lolo, hanging with my chihuahua. I mean, how could I? If I'm ever huge, Lolo hanging with my chihuahua will be right here in my heart, right under my Adidas logo. Right under the old Adidas logo. Calm yourself, Diego. We love you just as you are. Silent videos and all. That reminds me of that Billy Joel song, I Love You Just the Way You Are. What a beautiful song. One of my favorites. Can UVU be sued if they did, in fact, present drones for security? I don't think so. I don't think they can be sued for that. I don't know. You know, it's a state university. That's an executive decision. That would be, that'd be tough. Baron, will you tell my husband I really do love him, even though I didn't remember milk tonight? You don't, Mister. You don't know me, 66. It happens to the best people. That's not about her eternal love for you. No, that has nothing to do with that. It's. You get excited. You see the little notification, the little red circle pops up, says Real Baron Podcast is coming on. Sometimes milk takes a back seat, and the milk will be there tomorrow. And I don't know why you don't get like Kroger delivery or Instacart or something anyway. But it's going to be fine. I mean, guys, it's going to be fine. There's no reason to let this program tear a marriage apart. Let's see. Baron, your channel is a breath of fresh air. I love that you keep it family friendly and never fail to talk about Jesus. I love your blunders. It shows your humanity. I pray you're as big as Candace one day. Candace is a little bitty thing. I don't want to. I'm much bigger than Candace. No, physically. Look, I just pray that I'm as big worldwide one day as I am in the Balkans. No, I just pray that God gives us another day together. Like every day, just give us another day together. You know, it's like staying sober. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but today I'm not drinking. I don't know what the show is going to do tomorrow, but let's have today together. Let's have some fun. Let's put a show together. Let's make a show worthy of the folks who tune in. You know, let's give them what they come for. Like I'm telling you, I get this way. When I tune into somebody and I invest an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and I walk away and I think, they didn't really prepare for that. I feel robbed. I mean, time is money. Time is the only thing we got. And if I come on here, I want to make sure I'm giving you everything I've got to give you that day. Baron of the Balkans, we'd sign up for the Boots trip and tour to hear your jokes and wear your merch, where you're huge and can meet other fans. I can't go to the Balkans, but I will be. Let my sister get on board. Let's get everything squared away, because it takes me so long to put. You know how long that opening was? 2,500 words today. That was like 6 hours of writing, 5-6 hours of writing. It takes a long time to put these shows together. So when I have her doing all the back end stuff, then we can start putting some of these great ideas you have into motion. So that's coming. It's coming. I promise you, it's coming. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it squared away. Why has nobody heard from Charlie Kirk's childhood adolescent friends or anyone else from pre-TPUSA days? That's a great question. The way Charlie Kirk was treated was like a victim of emotional domestic violence, isolation, control, cut from family. Those are harsh words. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with them. but they're harsh words. I'm tired, baby boomer, tired of the negative broad brushing of my demographic. Don't forget neuroplasticity exists. Oh, did I say something, Dra Latina? I wasn't trying to be harmful to the baby boomers. I have said negative things about baby boomers before, and I do apologize at this moment. Mr. Baron, I laugh when you find it funny when people complain about the sound. You know you will never sound the same to everyone, but there are people who pay to remind you. Maybe that's the shtick. I purposely screw the sound up so your donations will go up by 10%. Lilac, lavender, purple Adidas is high IQ, my favorite so far. Oh, yeah. You guys were asking me to buy a purple one. I'll just tell you I already have one. I didn't think about that. I could just lie to you. No, it's Spark Blue Spark. Somebody wrote in a minute ago and gave the color. And that is right. High lawyer question. How can Brigitte sue Candace in Delaware? Delaware courts will have to decide if they can. I mean, I think her show is I think, isn't her company a Delaware LLC? I believe that's true. And I might be wrong. I honestly don't know. And I might be speaking way out of school, but I thought that when that issue came up the first time, I think it was. So that would be how, maybe. Just bought the perfect. Oh, you bought the pre-loved crimson Adidas hoodie. When you wear it, people will call it raw hamburger meat. They'll call it bean paste. They'll call it lung tissue red. Just be ready for that. I love the color, and I think the light doesn't do it justice. I think the light doesn't do it justice. If Adidas was smart, they would sponsor this program, because I bet you I've sold more Adidas hoodies than anyone else in America selling Adidas hoodies. And I don't even try. I just wear them. It's the greatest hoodie ever made. Just wait till you get that hoodie in, Mater. You're going to love it. And this is not an advertisement. They don't pay me for this. They should, but they don't. Color looks fantastic on you. Well, thank you, Nicole Pollock. It probably looks fantastic on everyone. It's a fantastic color. Best podcaster ever, because I don't get bored. Thoughts? That this is fake TR and his family was paid a lot of money for a fake confession, fake court, trial, sentence, etc. Over with, leaves country, live in Israel. I think that would be very difficult to pull off. I'm not saying it could never happen, but I think it would be very difficult to pull that off. I don't know the answer to this. I've heard that there's some kind of connection to Trump, but I don't know. Go Hoosiers, talking about the national championship game, remind me of one of the most famous plays in college football history, the Strip 1993 national championship, Alabama versus Miami. Yep. I'm aware. Hope you guys get the W. Roll Tide. I'm going to be really kind, just common sensing it, because you're a good commenter, but I will note that the Strip didn't count. That play had been blown dead and came back on a penalty. So, no, I just kidding. I like, I actually was rooting for Alabama in that game years ago, just because I hated that Miami had been ranked number 1 all year. That was long before I went to Auburn. And I thought, why is Alabama not getting? There was one sports guy all year long that kept ranking Alabama 1, and everybody else ranked Miami 1 all year. Shout out to Calbert Chaney, Pat Knight, and Damon Bailey era IU hoops. Bobby Knight is the GOAT. Pierce, Erica Kirk is going blanking down. So I have in that closet right there, you can't see it. In that closet right there, there is an autographed Damon Bailey photo, believe it or not. It's in a frame. It's just not up on the wall anywhere. Yes, I thought it was a very high IQ outfit. You are so refreshing, Stage. You are Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Indeed. Father Rippenberger's channel, Census Traditionis, has a high IQ take on communism and the demonic. See his most liked. I love Father Rippenberger. Very dense content. Get him on. I can't just get everyone on. I mean, I can't just demand people come on. I wish I could. There's a lot of people I would demand come on. Go Hoosiers. Lighting is the best. Hoodie's the best. No issue with audio sync. Mulan tincture tea for your cough. I have Mulan. I have it in my closet. I don't take it a lot. It makes me tired. Does it make you tired? Makes me sleepy. I might take it tonight because I don't have to get up in the morning. Like it puts I'll sleep till 7 o'clock in the morning if I take that stuff. It's crazy. Can't get up. Best podcast. You guys are so kind. You tell everybody that. Be honest, M Gay, EM Kizza 628. Be honest. Do you tell all your podcast hosts that? I was interested to hear you don't hold to rapture, dispensationalism. Is that the standard for Catholicism? Yes. I don't believe it either. I'm a Reformed Baptist with a soft preterist post or maybe amillennial eschatology. Thank you. Yeah. Catholic theology does not have a spot for the rapture in it. So, that answers that question. Thank you. Very kind. Very kind. And I'm assuming you don't go around telling everybody they're the best podcast. I'm hoping. Sent you an email titled Interested. Very important. No pressure. Maybe a little pressure. Go back. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. Maybe just a little. Yep. I got the Elder TikTok email. Thank you. Tagged you on X source. Mikey McCoy is back with the crowd at the tent afterwards. He came back. Really? I will check it out. You tag me on X. I'll check it out. Can you email that to me also? Thank you, Losla. Sending first chat. Very first chat? Oh, sending another chat. First one wasn't enough. Oh, gosh. You must have crazy ADHD. You've never noticed me shifting around to let them mention it. Oh, my gosh. People get bent out of shape about it. I get emails. Somebody on X was barking at me the other day because I moved too much in my chair. I can't watch you. You move too much. I'm like, well, then don't. Like, there's a lot of people I don't watch. I don't like them. So I don't watch them. Like a host. People I used to like, I don't like anymore. So I stopped watching them. No one's forcing you to watch the program. Yeah, there's definitely a midget horse involved. I can smell them. They have their own scent. They have their own scent. Sorry, guys. I am having to run through. I'm at 3 hours and 4 minutes, and we still got some to get to. Anticipation is what I get while waiting for you to notice that you aren't sharing your screen. Video cracks me to tears. You're so unsuspecting. I love it and crack up in tears. Don't fix a thing. I'm fixing it. I don't care if you guys tell me not to fix it. We're fixing it. We're fixing it. We're going to be a high IQ production. I was in middle school when Columbine happened in my neighborhood. In your neighborhood? We were put on lockdown and helicopters were everywhere. I went to Columbine rival high school, Chatfield. I haven't added this one to my list of conspiracies. How? You're in the neighborhood and haven't listed it? Haven't looked into the conspiracies? It's dense. It's dense. If I catch this before I wrap up, I sent a glorious video edit you should share. I don't have time. Maybe I'll share it next time. But I'm really trying to keep them to 3 hours, and I'm already over that. Watched CK and Groyper 6 years ago, man. It got heated when Groyper asked what values his conservative company was conserving. Gay Rob on stage regarding Philly wasn't open to questions on USS Liberty, etc. Like TPUSA, truth prevails. Yeah, I was going to say, they used to battle, and they never sued. They never sued each other. So I don't know. Just figured out super chat. It's hard when you don't know how to do it. CK, 25 million life insurance policy. Ben was CEO of this, Erica. Yeah, we've looked into that. And I know other people have covered that really well. Dank's covered that really well, if you've not. I have quercetin and bromelain combo. They are great for lung health. Unlike Mulan, maybe I'll take them together because Mulan puts me to sleep and keeps me asleep for like 8 hours, which is too long for me. I get all groggy the next day if I sleep that long. And then quercetin is like taking crack cocaine. 400 milligrams of quercetin, and I am buzzing. So I got to be real careful. I guess my body's very sensitive to this stuff. Brother B, Father Chris Allaire at Divine Mercy Shrine did an episode about servant of God, Maria Esperanza. He shares her prophetic message. An innocent man known worldwide who will be killed. Thinks it was Charlie Kirk. Said it 2 times. Check it out. I will. Check it out. I will. Dad, a pharmacist, noticed 30 years or so ago, many patients returned SSRIs saying they caused visions of killing faceless people. What if they didn't have the self-awareness to stop taking them? Holy mackerel, is that true? Oh my goodness. Hold on, my daughter's asking something, and she had a medical mishap a few days ago, so I want to get that resolved real quick. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me for a 10-second excursion. My 19-year-old rolled her ankle and is not feeling well. Broke a bone in it. Baron, Canuck Bucks. Love your show. Candace mentioned on one of her shows she experiences instant karma. She learned to always tell the truth. I think she's a very honest person, to be honest with you. I'm telling you, the whole time travel thing, I have a take on that, and I really want to give it. I kind of wanted to do it tonight, and then I wanted to do the Wolves and Finance video, so I've rolled it to Wednesday. So as long as no major news breaks, I intend to do that Wednesday. And then Thursday. Wednesday, I have a different show lined up. Hi, IQ fan Sydney. Baron, love your humor, wit, and authentic imperfection. Scary today. ChatGPT denied Kirk's assassination, called it fake, rejected evidence, questioned my sanity, claimed no cases, report AI gaslighting. Yeah, guys, if you cannot pull facts from ChatGPT. You can't pull it from Grok. You gotta confirm everything. Did you see Don Lemon stormed a Christian church service in Minnesota today with anti-ICE protesters? No. He's a weird man. Did you ever look into Sky Valadez? I did. He had the bullhorn at the mic, the Charlie Kirk tent. He released a song called Charlie Kirk Dead at 31. Take it down now. Those pics of guys coming up the stairs look like him, not TR. I have screenshots. Yes, I've looked into it, and I tend to agree with that, believe it or not. Hey, Baron, if we hear you say, I love marshmallows, we know the feds made a video. Love your show. That would be a dead giveaway that is not me. If I'm always like, man, I had some Jet Puff today, some Jet Puff marshmallow cream, and I was just eating it by the forkful right out of the jar. Woo, it was so good. You'll know. You will know. That ain't going to happen, Captain. Kappa equals YouTube. Just trying to highlight, again, unable to chat, only super chat. All right. The biggest QOD house is within yourself. Be careful with churches, synagogues, mosques, and if read between lines, say hello to Cadis. The biggest QOD house. What is it? I don't know what a QOD house is. Yeah, but Scripture tells us the temple of God is within us, right? 0 days since we watched Baron watch part of a video without showing us the video. We need an OSHA-style wall sign that can be updated day to day. The problem is it never gets updated. It just always says 0. Oh, guys, you're hurting me. Black box warning, say it all. Read before use. Yes. Hubby is proud of his Finnish heritage, as he should be. I did not mean to disparage his Finnish heritage. That's not what I meant. It was just a weird screen. I just wasn't expecting it. That's all. It's just a screen name. He should be very proud of his Finnish heritage. Everybody should be proud of their heritage. I have no problem with people being proud of their heritage. Guys, I've enjoyed it. Again, tomorrow, if you're a member, I will be here with Coach probably around 2:00, but I'll give you the notice ahead of time. I'll get that pulled up. Grumblers, it won't be on the Grumble. You'll have to jump on the YouTube if you want to see that. And then Tuesday again, the plan at present is to be on with someone else, so I will not be able to be with you Tuesday. Root for the Hoosiers tomorrow night. I'll be back here Wednesday. Got a great show lined up for you Wednesday. A fantastic show lined up Wednesday. It'll build off of tonight's show and off of my Tuesday appearance on another broadcast. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, You know where we're going with this, don't you? Because you guys know. Jesus loves you.